Okay. It might be. I brought it right back up, so I did pause it. So we'll have to glue this back
All right.
together if you're gonna put this out. We are back live here. Let's see
All
if
right.
it
Cool.
loads. Maybe it's a.
All right. Yeah. Kennedy says we're back now, so I think we're
Cool.
good. So Dan is actually he ran off. He'll
We'll
be
give him a
right back.
break.
Give him a break. You guys hang in there, and thank you so much for all your questions, and
And
thank
being
you for
patient
keeping.
with us. It's
Yes.
different when we have a guest on. We have to kind of go by their time frame, and we haven't been keeping up with the chat, but we will bring up any questions you guys have. I wonder if it was a Twitch issue with the 5,000 content not available kind of related issue or whatever.
Possibly. I know for me, it seemed like the stream was continuing to go through.
Yeah.
But so far, this is a lot of fun, and it sucks that we had to kind of cut that story right in the middle. So hopefully, we'll get a reminder there, and we can bring when Stan gets back.
True. There we go.
All right, welcome back to the show, Dan.
We're back.
Yes.
Did you get yourself some pasta?
I did. Look at this. Look at that.
Awesome. Let me see what you got there.
Oh,
Man,
Yeah, nice.
the lady hooked it up.
So sorry, we had a little streaming issue there, but everything is fixed.
It's all good.
I think it was Twitch. So
Yeah, it's probably Twitch. So you were in the middle of a fucking crazy ass story,
Whirlwind
epic story, and then I cut you off.
It's okay. Listen.
So, do you remember where were we last on this story?
Here's where we were last. So I storyboard for a lot of directors that were at this company called HSI. One of them was a guy named Chris Robinson.
who
Chris
directed
Robinson,
ATL?
who directed ATL. So I was asked on to ATL to storyboard, but I also had a little extra to do because the character in the movie was an aspiring cartoonist. So I had to draw all of the on-camera artwork. So anytime you would see Ti doing any drawing, he was
That was
drawing
your
over the things. That was my work. He was, and I would show him how to do lines and details to make it look natural.
How'd he do?
So he's great. He was a real nice guy, and he's one of those. Everybody on that production was fantastic. Got to meet Diana Ross, which was like fucking crazy. That was crazy. And Big Boy, and got to go visit the Dungeon family in Dallas, Austin, like all the Atlanta guys. It was a lot of fun. So the reason I'm bringing that one up, all these all kind of tie together. The reason I'm bringing that one up is that he wasn't the line producer. He was keeping track of the money. This guy named Craig Canold. Craig Canold had the forethought 5 years later to give me a call because he was producing a pilot called The Hard Times of R.J. Berger. And what the Hard Times of R.J. Berger and ATL had in common were that they needed storyboards, and the main character was an aspiring cartoonist. So they needed somebody to draw on-camera artwork. Where they differed is that the Hard Times of R.J. Berger was about a nerdy kid with a 14-inch penis. and it was an MTV show. It was a pilot, right?
Where else would
And
it be?
right. So they had some scenes that they wanted to include. They were important for story, but they didn't know how to really get them across without getting the censors saying you can't do that.
I'd imagine it'd be really hard to portray 14-inch penises.
Right. So
on cable TV.
What they had decided to do was to animate the parts that were absurd. They would animate the parts that
Kill Bill style
were. Yeah, the idea. Yeah, that's exactly where it came from. Neil, one of the producers, said we should kill Bill it. That's exactly what he said. We should kill Bill it. The Oranishi shit. So I get asked, "Can you do animation?"
Oh boy,
by it, right? And fortunately, I had just finished, like maybe 6 months prior. There's a Panasonic job. I'll try to find it. It was for this new Panasonic TV, and there's a sequence where the samurai girl goes from live action and then turns into animation and holds her sword up. I was the one that hand drew the 1 second of animation for that. So when they asked me,
frames?
can you... Yes, exactly. When they asked me, can you animate? I was like, well, yeah, sure. Right? So they gave me $5,000 to animate 1 minute. Which is not a lot of money. Most animation on the cheap side is a lot more. Yeah. So what I decided to do is I created all the assets in Photoshop, and I created like puppet pieces, arms, mouths, all the different mouth options and eyebrows and eye expressions and sort of head turns and things like that. Storyboarded the scene, did an animatic, broke down all of the assets I needed to create each shot, created all the assets, then hired an After Effects animator, my buddy Dennis Shin, and we knocked it out, and they put it in the pilot. The pilot got picked up, and that's where everything changed. They needed 11 more episodes in 11 more different styles. Okay, the
each
first
style
one we
different?
done, every style different. They wanted a Popeye one. They wanted a Murakami. They wanted Samurai Jack. They wanted Waltz with Bashir. They wanted the I Want My MTV Dire Straits video. There was like a series of animated styles that they wanted, and they needed 11 of them. Now, I felt like I could tackle them, but the problem was the schedule that they had thrown at me was insane. They were on top of each other. The productions were literally like, while one was being animated, another one was being storyboarded, another one was being like, they were literally stacked on top.
Like they didn't know how much work that required.
Right. Well, they did. They said you have an option. You can either create your own production company, animation production company, and hire people. And at the time, this is like 2009, almost 10 years ago. At the time, I had no sort of notion of what animation production entailed. Right? Like what the soup to nuts, I didn't know what it was. I knew it was 24 frames, I knew character design, I knew animation and animatics, and I knew creative chunks, how to get it done, but not necessarily a fluid production machine that could handle 11 more episodes in this short amount of time. Yeah. So my options were create my own animation company or partner with one. I ended up partnering with one called Wildbrain. Was introduced to Marge Dean, wonderful lady, and has been instrumental in my animation career. So she's in there too. Number 6. She's the princess of mentorship. There you go, or queen, or whatever she wants to be, because she deserves it. She's amazing. She took on the job, took on the challenge of that many production looks and styles, and we did it. We managed to accomplish it. We ended up doing 2 seasons. During this time, in the behind the scenes on one of the shows that her company, which was called Wildbrain, was producing, was a show called The Ricky Gervais Show. There was
applause for that, because before you go any further, that's my favorite comedian of all time.
Oh, awesome. He's good.
So I'll let you continue, but if there was an applause break and you're on like whatever, that would have been it for me. So go on.
That's awesome. So they lost their director. Okay. I didn't know this. I had no idea about this. Okay, so what I knew was that Marge had called me up and said, would you be interested in doing storyboards for the Ricky Gervais Show? Because the stuff you're doing on RJ Burger is very funny. Would you be interested in doing storyboards? I said yes. She said, can you send me samples? I said, I can't. Nope. I'm actually on my way up to San Francisco to visit with my grandfather. I'll send them when I come back down. That same weekend, while I was up in San Francisco, I got a emergency bat phone call from Joseph Kahn because they needed another second unit director for this Maroon 5 video. Oh, okay. So he asked me, "Can you be down here?" And it was like literally like, if I get in my car now, I can be down there. So I literally had to drop everything, turn around, drive down there, and shoot second unit for this Maroon 5 video. And I completely had forgotten about sending Marge any samples because it was like this thing came on top of this thing, and I just forgot.
You needed your own Boba Fett clone.
Right. So I was supposed to send her shit on Monday. I think I called her on Tuesday and I said, I'm really incredibly sorry. I dropped the ball. Do you still want my things? And she said, oh, some things have changed. Would you be interested in coming down to interview for the director position?
Wow. And
I said, do you think I'm up for it? I've only done, these shorts. These are 22-minute episodes. And she goes, I think you have the chops. You're funny. Okay. And you handled all these different aesthetics and different sort of styles for animation. I think you can do this. I think you'd be great for it. You just need to have a point of view on it. And she told me what the producer and the showrunner, what their needs were. And I also had included that one of the things that I wanted to do, and this was taking something from the NERD days, was Ricky, Steven, and Carl they're real people, right? And they're not portraying other people. They're not portraying characters. And we have a third of the show of them sitting at this table. Has anybody done any like motion studies of how Ricky moves and how Carl moves and how Steven moves? And like they're like, no. And I had some stuff prepared. I'm like, look, whenever Carl gets weird, he scratches his head. And whenever Ricky laughs, he actually like flies back a little in his chair. Yeah. And I started saying, and Stephen Merchant does this, and like I started saying, like, our animators, if we're gonna breathe life into them, make them more real. I said I can handle the comedy, but let's really make these living characters. And they the producers love me, and the showrunner loved me. So then they sent me to HBO, and I remember being so scared that day, just nervous, because the building is nuts. It's like super tall, and they got billboard for True Blood hanging in the lobby, and there's like glass walkways above you and shit, and powerful looking people that look like they came out of Gattaca, just fucking walking
perfect
around.
Specimen.
Yeah. And I'm just like, oh fuck, and I remember when I walked in the room, they're like, hey, how you doing? I said, I'm just lucky I didn't just pass out, like, because that's what I said to them, because that's literally what I was thinking. I'm like, I'm just so lucky I didn't just pass out. And they're like, oh, you're funny, and they're laughing, and I'm like, oh, thank God you're laughing. And I was driving home, and like literally like 20 minutes after leaving HBO, they called me and said I had the job. And so I directed 2 seasons of that show, and then from there I did a pilot for Disney, pilot for Adult Swim, and then went over to Mattel, and I've been with Mattel now for 5 years.
Wow, that's nuts. So it's just I was thinking about this earlier today, and there's not really too much to elaborate on. It's more of a comment.
Sure.
Did you ever stop to think for a second that, hey, one day Stephen Merchant will be in a Wolverine movie?
No. In fact, when I saw him, because I had just seen Logan about 3 weeks ago. We talked about this on online yesterday, but I don't get out to movies that often. So I literally saw Logan for the first time like 3 weeks ago. And at first, because Caliban is so pale and like the makeup is so good,
you didn't recognize him?
I'm like, is that Tim Roth? Like, I was like, I'm like trying to figure it out, and I'm like, no, I know that voice. I fucking know that voice. I've heard that voice. And I turned to my wife. I'm like, that's Stephen Merchant. She's like, that's not. And I'm like, IMDb. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Holy shit. No, I didn't know. I didn't definitely not think he would be in a Wolverine movie. No.
Oh, man.
I mean, just to go off on a little bit of a side note there, he did a phenomenal job.
Absolutely.
As Caliban. That was crazy. My hope is that you would be like, Yeah, before Stephen Merchant got into it, or he got the part for Logan, he called me and was like, "How do I play Caliban?" And you had this whole conversation.
I wish.
I'll teach you how to move instead of study in the other direction. But to be fair,
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that you were asking, did you ever think, as a Wolverine artist, so Stephen Merchant would be in a Wolverine movie or whatever? Like, if you asked that to 9-year-old version of Danny or whatever, of myself, not that particular question, but like, oh, one day you see all these comic book characters, they're all going to be in one movie. I'd be like, there's no fucking way.
Right.
You're out of your mind. I'll Batman. Eat my shoes.
We had Batman, right? And we had a failed Punisher movie. And we had failed Spider-Man from the 70s, failed Captain America from the 70s.
Wait a minute. I'm going to take a little beef. Are we talking about the Punisher movie from 2004?
No, sir. I'm talking about Dolph Lundgren.
Because as a Tampanian, I'm going to say that Tampa looked very good on the silver screen.
That's about it.
And they did a great job.
Of that. They filmed, exactly. I was going to say they filmed most of that there in Miami, or not Miami, but in Florida. Florida. No,
I was there. That was actually when I first moved to Tampa. They were filming that right then, and I was missed my shot to be an extra.
Some of our transporter crew came from Punisher.
Oh, nice.
But no, man, I had no idea that would be the case.
And then it was like you were saying, you're talking about single character movies, and someone comes to you and says all the Avengers are going to be, well, not all, most of the Avengers are going to be in one movie, but there's no fucking way. There's not enough money in the world. You can't do that. That's not possible. People won't go see it.
They figured it out, though. Yeah. They figured it out.
Yeah. So when you were animating, or you were the director for the Ricky Gervais show, was there any time where you actually had to sit like at a round table with Carl, Ricky, and Steven? Did you get to meet them?
This is the part where I break your guy's heart.
Oh,
just Shane's.
This is where I break your guy's heart. There were three instances in my life where it was like another one of those yay, kick your heels sort of things. The first time it happened was when I got to draw an issue of Spider-Man, and that was my childhood dream, and I got to draw Spider-Man in one panel. And that was because the rest was like a Gwen Stacy's dad and the Proto Goblin, and like it was like I got to draw Stan Lee and Spider-Man in the same panel, but that was it. And it was kind of like, fuck, man, I wanted to draw Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. The other time was when I got asked to storyboard on the Fantastic Four 2. Rise
I was actually going to bring that up. I was going to bring that up in a second. I'll let you go ahead, and I think I know where you're going.
I was asked to draw Galactus. And it turned out in the script, well, there's two parts. Number one, I never talked to the director. I was only sent script pages with my name emblazoned across them, and I would get them over a fax of all things, a fax. I would then draw my part and send it in, and I never talked to anybody. There was no direction. It was literally read it, translate it, send it in. But I remember that. Yeah, I remember that reading and going, a flurry of asteroids and space debris hurling reckless speed towards the Earth. And I'm like, is there a missing page? Did something get cut off? Ring, 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 ring. Yeah. Hey, it's Stan Fraga. I'm boarding this sequence, the coming of Galactus. It says it's a bunch of like dirt in space. Where's Galactus? And they go, oh, that thing you're calling dirt in space, that's Galactus. I was like, fuck. So there was that, and then the other one is I directed 2 seasons of the Ricky Gervais show. I've never met Ricky. I've talked to him on the phone twice, but they weren't social calls like, hey, good to know you, good to meet you, blah, blah, blah. We had 2 instances where we had these very steep legal challenges. One was featuring Clive Owen and Rebecca De Mornay in a storyline and how much screen time we can give them without breaking any rules. and then another episode where we featured Tom Cruise and how we would hide his face and do all, like, it was literally strategy stuff. Never met him, and only talked to him the two times. All of his notes came over. It looks great. Good job, guys. Like that. That was it.
So what you're saying is I'm not going to be able to get Ricky Gervais on this Twitch show.
No.
Well,
but you can get a dust
on the show today. I think we're going to go ahead and move on.
There you go. Have a spoonful of pasta.
There you go. But he could probably get you Galactus in the Fantastic Four form.
Yeah.
Just go outside and throw dirt at the camera.
Yeah, I'll send you a bag from Home Depot. It's on the way.
Yeah, no, I kind of would have. In my mind, I wish there's a part of you that, somewhere in my art room, I have a version of the storyboard for Fantastic Four where I said "fuck it" and I drew Galactus.
I would. There was only one time that we did draw boards for something we didn't agree with in the script. I don't know if you guys have seen Transporter 2.
Yeah.
Have you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, you can come in, buddy.
Oh, we got a guest star on today.
Guest of a guest.
Is it locked? It's not bedtime yet. Come back later. Yeah. So there's a scene where there's a bomb in the bottom of the car, and he has to go up on this boat and ramp and do a 180, and this hook takes the bomb off, and he lands and he drives off. Right? Boom! The bomb explodes in the air. He's safe.
Mm-hmm.
That's some ludicrous shit.
Okay, good. I'm glad. Right. I thought you were going to say,
as our friend Cordero would say, he should have died from that.
Yeah, that's some ludicrous shit, and it's written by Robert Camden, the fucking guy who wrote Karate Kid, and by Luc Besson, right? The Professional, the La Femme Nikita. This shit is on the page, written by these fucking G's, right?
They ripped off in Furious 7. That's true.
Yeah. So Louis, the director, and I are in his hotel room, and he's stressing out, right? He goes, we can't do this. This is bullshit. This is going to take everybody out of the movie.
It really did. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so we go, well, let's come up with like 3 or 4 different ways that are believable and cool.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we created this one where he picks up speed and is zigzagging and does this whole like drifting thing around these pipes, and then like skids over and like skids towards camera like Akira style, and the thing explodes behind him, and he looks at the camera and then drives off. It was like badass and plausible.
Yes.
and dynamic, and we thought of ways to shoot it that like there was motion and it was exciting and plausible. We came up with 3 different variations that were plausible and exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Luke was in town, and we wanted to pitch it to him in person. We go and sit down, and we say, "Yo, the crane bomb scene.
It's dumb.
We want to talk. we don't say it's dumb. We just want to explore some other options." We set the folder down on his desk and push it across. He puts his hand on the folder, pushes it back, and says, "You're shooting it as scripted."
Oh my god!
And we said, "Can you at least look at the other ones?" He goes, "As scripted."
It's got to be a kick to the gut.
Yeah, you just go fuck. And I remember this is another thing that happened on that movie. We were told when we started that we were aiming for a hard R. Okay, R rating, hard R, badass, swearing, guts, knives, hardcore.
Yeah.
We created an edit for that, and when the executives came to watch the edit when we were shooting reshoots in France, they said, "This is amazing, but we must make it PG-13." And we had to cut out so much stuff. But yeah, I remember sitting when Transporter 2 came out, sitting in the theater, and when that scene came, just
it was everybody though. Everybody had a
yeah. But it was that was one of those like fuck.
That was the scene that when they said they were making a 3 or anything else, I was just like, all right. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. What are they gonna do? What are they gonna like jump over the moon?
So we have a question from I Am Shantae in the question. She said, what was your favorite drawing software or program when you started doing animation?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay. So when I first started, I found this software called Moho, which is kind of like how Flash works, along with Toon Boom Harmony. It's spline based. You can do puppets and you can move it.
Yeah, I have Toon Boom. It's something that I've messed around with.
So it was very much like Toon Boom, but this is before Toon Boom. So that was like one of the first ones. For production reasons, I used Photoshop and After Effects the first time I did when I did RJ Berger, because I didn't know anybody that knew Flash or that other software, and I didn't have enough time to learn it. I knew an After Effects guy, and he handled it. So we, seat of our pants. But now, I mean, I like everything that Toon Boom offers. I like their Storyboard Pro software. I like Harmony. I like their whole system. I like that you can create scripts and things and hack things. We had a show up in Toronto by a company called Guru. We did a show called Ever After High, and one of their guys created a code for secondary and tertiary movement of hair, and also in-betweens on a profile to a straight-on, which gave it a real nice, almost
smooth
3D-ish quality. So Toon Boom would be number one, but as far as drawing software, on the computer, I would go with Photoshop with the custom brushes I've made, and with portable, I would go with Procreate, again with custom brushes.
How do you decide if something, if you want to do it, with pen and paper kind of thing, or if you need to go into software and do it?
If it's personal.
Okay.
If it's personal, then you would pencil it?
Yeah. Like, for example, I did a Youngblood cover and a Bloodstrike cover and a Berserkers thing recently where I wanted a physical piece of art at the end. I wanted a physical piece of art. But when it comes to and it's going back, this is something that I've said a bunch of times today: the double-edged sword. Okay, there's a double-edged sword to doing some of production with production work digitally when it comes to aftermarket. And I only learned this recently because when I was doing boards, my process would be I'd meet with the director, I'd take notes, I'd do rough sketches. I would then do inks of those sketches, erase them, scan them in, go into Photoshop, clean them up, send them out. And then my buddy Brian Murray got a Cintiq, right? And he was showing me what he could do with his Cintiq. And I then, being very practical, got a stopwatch out and stopwatched every time I was erasing a page, scanning a page, and prepping a page for delivery.
Yeah.
And it turned out I was spending an hour and 40 minutes every job just erasing and scanning.
So
right?
extra.
Yeah. So I was like, and that's bullshit work. Erasing, scanning, cleaning up. That's not drawing. And with the Cintiq, there's no cleanup. You're just drawing it and it's done. There's no scanning, whatever. And I'm like, an hour and 40 minutes over the holy shit, and I'm like just crunching numbers and things in my head.
Yeah. And
I realized I could be doing stuff much faster and hitting these deadlines in a way that is more proactive for production. And I switched over digitally. The double-edged sword of that is there are jobs that I did before my Cintiq, and there are jobs that I did after. The jobs I did before Cintiq were like Gwen Stefani's Holla Back Girl, Usher's Caught Up, Red Light, One Missed Call, Dragon Ball, Fantastic Four. There's all these boards that I have on paper.
Physical, yeah.
That physical paper that this auction house asked me if I had them, and they went and sold for a few $100, $1,000 for stuff that's sitting in my garage. Right? Holy shit, stuff that's gathering dust, money.
And
right?
the digital stuff has no value? Is that what you're saying?
No. I mean, unless I like got permissions and made like a digital book or a printed book of all the work, but it's like it's for production, so it's not the prettiest stuff, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, I was going to ask, how difficult was it to transition from pen and paper to digital? Was there any learning curve? Nowadays, if we want to learn a new program, we go to YouTube. That's what I do.
Smart.
What was it like for you back in 2009?
It was about 2008, 9. Good knowing.
I know good things.
At first, because I knew how to use Photoshop, because I'd been doing digital coloring and all the scanning and prepping and sometimes putting in gray tone, I knew I've been working with Photoshop since version 1, so I knew where things were. I knew layer behaviors. I knew how to create brushes and all that. The learning gap came in that it felt very weird drawing on something so slick.
Yeah,
glass like
no resistance.
Yeah, and that's why, like, even on my iPad, I have this cover that the pencil. It's called matte. It's a matte cover, and it has a little bit of tooth to it, so it feels a little more like paper. But that was the biggest hurdle, and learning any new program. Like, I work for a company called Bento Box. They do Bob's Burger, and we produce a pilot over there. And they insisted all the boards be done in Storyboard Pro. I was doing all my boards in Photoshop and cutting them in Premiere or in Final Cut. So there was a tool. Learning the tools was sort of the hurdle, but at the end of the day, it's the storytelling aspect of things. So I learned how to use Storyboard Pro in 2.5 hours because they have tutorials, and I just went through them systematically and figured it all out.
Yeah.
So it was a tactile thing. That answer is it was a tactile thing, and that lasted for a couple of days.
I always thought about that, and I'm just glad I finally got the answer. I'm like, even if digital is more convenient, which I'm all for it, there has to be some weirdness with the fact that there's the feeling, the resistance, like almost like the feel. And I'm not an artist, I just know this from writing. Like when you write, you feel the paper, you're feeling through the pen or whatever you're using. And when you remove that familiarity, it's like signing in those crappy digital things at the bank and stuff. It's like it never comes out the way you want it to be.
It takes some getting used to, but again, creating custom brushes, it's about again, thinking about things systematically, like, oh, here's this slip and slide. Well, I can adjust that through the spacing on when I create the brush and the texture of the brush, and it almost sort of corrects itself now that when I draw it, what I'm thinking and what's coming out are the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So we have we wanted to get to this part of it, and I think we're getting there earlier than we anticipated. But question from Kennedals in the chat. He says, "Do you produce music, and if so, is there a SoundCloud?"
I do,
and you're willing to share it.
I do, and I will be willing to share it. SoundCloud. I'm not sure if it's under Fraga Boom or Couch Doodles. I've been working on a mixtape. It hasn't come as quickly as I'd like because I've got 3 kids, a 9-to-5 job, a 3-hour commute. And I'm still drawing every day, and I'm still learning every day. I've written about 37 beats. My other producer who's out there in the East Coast, he's kicked down 4 for the second mixtape. The mixtape's called Young Geezer. It's a concept album. I've got a song, I think I sent it to you, called Nike.
You did, and we're going to play a little excerpt here in a second.
Yeah, and it's about just getting off your ass and doing stuff. I have another one called Go Low. Anyway, I produce stuff. I compose in Logic. I record in Logic. I arrange in Logic. I send it to my brother up in San Francisco who will do a mix. He'll go in and
master it.
Well, he'll do as close of a master as he can. I'll give it a listen, give some notes, We've done some experiments where we'll send it to Lander, which is LANDR. It's a computer mastering, but it's pretty damn good.
Is
Like,
it
it gets
automated
your bar-
where
it-
no person?
It is
touches
automated.
Okay.
There's no person. Yeah, you kick it, but it's actually really good.
I
was
knew
very
it
shocked.
eventually it exists. I'm glad to hear
Yeah.
it does. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, stay tuned for that. Just keep an eye out. I know I'm on SoundCloud. I don't know the exact name, but stuff is going to be coming soon. All the music part has been written. It's lyrics and tracking.
Sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And finding the
time. The time is hard. And the other thing too, it gets really tough when you have as little time as I do. I start to try to manage time as much as I can, and it ends up becoming like a Jenga. And I have the Couch Doodle show for YouTube that's going to be coming out. It's youtube.com/Couch Doodles. And I got all my camera stuff ready, all the curriculum ready, and then I got hit with the flu.
Ooh.
That took me out for like 3 weeks, and everything just fell apart because part of maintaining all that stuff is daily maintenance. At this time, I do this and this, and I fit this in, and I answer emails and this. But then you go, I can't fucking wake up. I can't do this. I don't want to write that. I don't want to do that. Stuff doesn't go away. It just keeps building up and up.
Yeah.
And then I get back to it, and I'm like, oh shit, where was I? Because there's a lot of moving parts, as you guys know, to putting on a show, live or otherwise. And like for the Couch Doodle show, it's procedural. So I want to teach people that have never drawn before to get to the where they feel like they're a master of their own thoughts.
That's
right?
awesome. Yeah.
And then the mixtape, I freestyle rap in my car. I used to do it every day as a daily challenge, like true freestyle off the top of the head, no writtens, just go. And so the mixtape was sort of an extension of that, but it's about getting the time because, I go, oh, well, maybe I can do it at 4 a.m. No, I can't. Kids are sleeping.
Yeah.
Maybe I can do it at 8 p.m. No, I can't. Kids are sleeping. So I have to track on the weekends, but I have to be like mindful of what my wife needs because I'm a husband too.
Yep.
Right. So it when everything was working, it was chugging along and everything had momentum, and then the flu came, and now I'm putting the thing back together again to move it down the road. So yeah.
Fortunately, one thing
you'll
see if you haven't already is the internet's very forgiving when you're creating something for them. We've had our own bumps and hurdles to go over, with 3 of us in 3 different cities and traveling and stuff like that. And we've been very lucky. The community has hanged around and are always willing to put up with our scheduling mischievousness.
Yeah, man.
But the moment you got that stuff, if you guys aren't already following his social media, his Twitter or his YouTube, you will see it on ours. We will definitely retweet that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
If they're on Instagram, they want to see a lot of it, just kind of off the cuff freestyle rap.
Mm-hmm.
It's Fraga Moom 23. And then if you want to see the artwork stuff, it's Couch Doodles.
Yeah, I got sucked into that. It's just something about seeing that creation process is awesome.
It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun.
And that tiny little Spider-Man that you made.
Oh, you guys have no idea how small it is. You want to see how small it is?
That's ridiculous. I saw the quarter. I was like, how is that even possible?
I'm gonna hold it up for you because I have a bag of books, right? Like my wife, she wanted to go to Hobby Lobby, right? And like I get obsessed with like dollhouse stuff. It's weird because you're like, that's a little plate of bacon and it looks so real.
Do you watch any of those videos on I believe it's YouTube where I think they come from Japan, where they build an entire miniature kitchen and they cook actual food.
Miniature food.
Mesmerizing.
It's crazy. Okay, you guys ready for this?
Yes.
Let's do it.
That's it.
Wait.
Wow.
That's it right there.
That is
what?
Smaller than a quarter.
Here's the proof. And it's so hard to handle.
Oh my god, that is smaller than I saw, for sure.
Yeah, okay. And then the cap is right
Look
there.
At that. Holy
that is nuts.
Yeah, it's barely as big as my thumbnail.
And you're talking about how you can't see and you need your glasses? How'd you do that?
I can see up close very well. I can't see far away. That's the thing. But look it's a bag of these books, man.
Where do you get those? My girlfriend was actually asking.
We got them at Hobby Lobby in the dollhouse section. The dollhouse section. They're just like prop books that you put in the dollhouse.
But they actually have pages in them. Okay.
Yeah, they have pages. Yeah, it's nuts. And I'm like, I'm gonna draw on one of those.
That's awesome.
That's very cool. He says
Ant-Man's library.
Cordero says that's Ant-Man's library.
It is Ant-Man's library.
That would actually be hilarious. Like an entire Ant-Man comic book written
in the smallest form.
They would have to sell it with like a jeweler's loop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if they ever put it out. I mean, that'd be a cool
awesome
thing.
concept, yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, getting I'd have to draw it, right? Like that's the thing.
Absolutely.
They couldn't do any of the shitty tricks. They can't do it big and then shrink it. It has to be legit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
hand drawn.
Unless they use the actual Ant-Man thing where they toss it and it shrinks down. But we don't have that tech just yet, so that's not going to happen.
Not yet.
Yeah, not to steal away your thunder, but that's pretty much how Danny and I met, was through music production.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was doing some music back in high school, and I was doing it all through analog. And then Danny was like, you know what? We got these programs from Sony. We got Sony Acid and all that. I was like, what's that?
Acid. Yeah.
This was 2002, would it be? 2001?
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds about right. Like you had Cubase, Acid, Reason.
FL Studio.
Yeah, man. FL is, man, that's the thing. My buddy L, he's producing everything in FL Studio. Dude, they don't have it for Mac.
Oh, they don't?
They don't have it for Mac? That's crazy.
No.
Yeah, the thing is, people would shit on Fruity Loops because it was readily available to everybody.
And they thought Soulja Boy.
Yeah.
Soulja Boy killed everybody.
They thought that the only thing that you could get from Fruity Loops were those stock sounds that were within it. People never realized if you were doing everything through MIDI, you could have a complete orchestra behind you through Fruity Loops and make phenomenal music.
That's right.
But
the only thing I want the only reason I want Fruity Loops is for one feature.
What's that?
There's a gross beat.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
That shit where you can fucking jar and stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah, mangle. Yeah. I'm like, fuck. They had like a hacked version for Logic, but it doesn't work the same, and like you can't save any of the presets. Drives me batshit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the past, anybody that shit on FL Studio, I always say that you just don't know how to use your tools, because it can do anything can do in whatever you're using. You're just dogging it because it comes with some cheesy stuff off the bat, and if you're just relying on the presets and what it comes with, then you have problems, not the program.
That's right. That's exactly right, man. Part of me almost wants to buy like a low-end PC. Because the thing about FL Studio that's very enticing is if you save up some money and buy like the big bad boy, the $1,000 one, free
upgrades forever.
Forever.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. I'm like, God damn it, because like I bought what do you call it? I have a Complete Ultimate 11, but I had to buy this big ass keyboard to get a discount and like all this other stuff. And the truth of the matter, and this is one of those things where. Like I learned that all of Frank Frazetta's watercolors were done with a Mickey Mouse set, and I don't mean like Mickey Mouse is in like
cheap,
like a cheap and whatever. I mean like a Mickey Mouse set, like that had Mickey Mouse on it.
Oh,
yeah, like so, like super cheap, right? In the same spirit, I've got a $1,000 complete controller. 61 key thing in my closet that I've used like 4 times. Whenever I write, I pull out my 25 key Oxygen 8 that's like $70 and I write my ass off with that. You know what I mean?
There's something to be said where if you are limited in the tools to create, it forces you to improvise and to use those beyond their limitations. And so sometimes it's better to have the shitty small anything because it forces you to compensate.
It's trial by fire.
there's some web stuff. If you look online, and L got me into this. Marley Marl. I always fuck his name up because the R's and L's. Marley Marl. It was talking about when he made Mama Said Knock You Out for LL Cool J, and how he did that shit in his living room with a 4-track, and he said I used what I had, and like he showed how he punched things in and used ghost notes and popped it in, and it's like, yeah, I don't need to hear motherfuckers say I need Pro Tools and I need a MPC and I need a sound card and I need a bullshit, dude. Yeah. You know, if Soulja Boy's got Fruity Loops in his fucking 1-bedroom apartment and makes a hit, why can't you?
In a shitty like old MacBook 13-inch, you know.
Yeah. I know Danny and I were probably making music on Acid Pro that was a hell of a lot better than people who were using Pro Tools.
Because that's all we had.
Or the other thing was people they're like, I gotta get a Triton keyboard. The only way I'm gonna be able to make music is if I get a big Triton keyboard. And it's like, you just need MIDI 1100 and Fruity Loops, and you can make some great music.
Cordero has
Tritons were nice though.
Yeah, they were. They sounded nice, is what it was. Too.
They're good for live. They're good for live music.
Cordero makes a comment like the shark being broken in Jaws. They had to depend on their talent.
Thank you. Exactly. If the shark didn't break in Jaws, Jaws would not be Jaws. And if the sandstorm didn't happen in Tunisia, Star Wars would not be Star Wars.
That's true.
So amen to you. Amen to you for that. Yes. And Marlon Mall is a genius. Thank you. Him, Pete Rock, Primo, No ID, Dilla. Those are the fucking real motherfuckers, man. And,
so
you know,
I think this is a good time to like let's come to the future. You know, because we've been talking a little bit about tools. We're talking about old school producers, and I'd like to kind of go into like how things have changed. You know, I think it's a double-edged sword. Like you would probably agree that now anybody can get their hands on these music production tools, which means there's a ton of music and there's a ton of shitty music, ton of great music. One that I want to hit on comics, and then you guys can jump onto anything, is as an artist, especially as someone that has created comics, have you had a chance to use something like Comixology where you're reading it on your iPad and whatnot? And how do you feel about that? Because I don't know if me and Shane agree, but I have strong feelings on it.
Okay. Here, I either am 100% on board with you or 100% not being in that. I too have strong feelings.
Okay.
I have a hard drive that has over 300 gigabytes of digital comics. Okay.
Wow.
I have those as a library of reference, and I put some on my iPad as a library of reference. I do not like reading comic books on an iPad.
Okay.
Okay. I have a box of comics. I actually have like 40 long boxes plus all my trade paperbacks. I want to hold the motherfucker. I want to flip the pages. I want to smell that paper. And I like having them digital because I'll tell you what, if I can have 40 long boxes of comics in my pocket on my phone, that's great. That's great. I had a conversation with Rob Liefeld about 2 weeks ago, and we were talking because after my Dallas trip, he was like, tell me about it, because he's big old schooler fan, right? And he's friends with Zach and all those guys. And he was telling me about his favorite stuff on Avengers was written by Jim Shooter. And then he was talking about reading Kirby's run on Black Panther in '78 and how good it was. And I'm like, fuck, I need those. So I go down to my comic book store. I'm like, do you have the Marvel Masterworks with, No, man, we don't have that. Shit. Well, do you have the Avengers this? We have this one, but not this one. Fuck. God damn it. Okay. So then I go on Amazon or in Mile High and I go, okay, how can I buy it? I'm like, $80 fucking. I don't have $80 for this thing I want to look at. I don't even know if I want it. I mean, it's Jack Kirby and I love Jack Kirby, but I don't know if I want to shell out $80. But look here on Comixology, it's $6. And I dropped the $6 and I'm able to go through it and look at it and all that. But I use it more as like a reference library to understand like poses and stuff. But I'll reiterate, I don't like reading comics digitally. It doesn't feel right to me.
So yeah, you're right about agreeing or disagreeing. But I'll give you my perspective, and this is what changed the entirety of this argument for me is the guided view that Comixology does, and the reason is because even as an adult, even though I'm a youngin at 33.
You youngster, get off my lawn.
I still have severe like ADD, especially in a comic book. When I turn the page and I'm going into, the inside page or the outside page, the left side page, I want to, I don't want to spoil the story, and I want to look at it and just like follow it, but my eyes just keep pulling me over here to this other page. Because there's something shiny, there's something bright.
One at a time is what you need.
Yeah, I need like a piece of paper to cover it. But the way that the guided view does, and I don't know if this is up to the artist or if this decided afterwards, it's usually done by panels, and it's not just panels. It can be portions of panels, like especially if there's a lot of text-based stuff, and it really guides you through that. And what sold me is I was reading, I think it was Vader 1, a Star Wars comic. And the very last page, he had gone back to Tatooine for something, and you could tell he was bothered by it the entire time. And he's doing his line, and I turn the page, and I go to his line, and it's basically him saying, now we can go. I'm done here. And it was a tiny bit. You see the writing. Now we're done. We can go here. Little his face or whatever. And I hit the next page or whatever, and it just zooms out on that panel, and you see that he had destroyed all the what are the natives? I forgot what they're called. The ones that killed his mother or whatever. And it just blew me away because I've never had that feeling in storytelling because it gets spoiled by my ADD eyes.
Yeah, no, you know what? That is a absolutely great point. I think that being mindful of the tools that you're allowed, right? Like if I knew, here, I'm going to have to do the classic rewind thing. Okay. If you look at like Watchmen, right? Dave Gibbons was drawing things on a 9-panel grid. And every now and then he would combine the size of 3 panels into one. And that thing felt huge, right? But those were the tools at his disposal in which to tell a story. Yeah. You have a flat piece of paper that we generally read right to left, top to bottom. And you have frame size and context against another frame or a sequence of frames. Those are your tools. What you're talking about is the introduction of a new set of tools. So if I was to jump in, like, because when I talk to you about Comixology and all this stuff, I'm talking about like, I'm looking at Avengers Annual 10. Yeah. Something that I've seen a million times, that I know the vanilla smell of that paper, and like this is just sort of a archival version of this thing. Yeah, because you can't find it anywhere or something. Right. That said, if I was receiving a news story and those reveals were happening in that way, where it was like, oh shit, kind of like you were saying, we're done here. Oh fuck, he killed everybody, right? Like you would have known, like you would have skipped ahead or whatever. That's a new set. That's a new set of tools. Right. And as a storyteller, if I was to write a comic and draw a comic that I knew specifically was going to be in that format, I might actually change my storytelling approach to accommodate those tools. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah. And it you know what? Now that you mention it, I haven't used it to read older material, and I have a feeling that you're right that it won't work as well because the tools didn't exist. Yeah, because we just like when I design a page, knowing that it would be 2D, I'm designing it to lead your eye. I'm using context of big to small, like this moment against this moment, that sort of thing. But yeah, that's interesting. That's very interesting.
So definitely.
So we have a
try
question. I apologize. I keep cutting in. As the trials and tribulations of Google Hangouts is that you speak over each other. We have another question from the chat, and this is going back to music. This is from a longtime viewer and inquisitor of our show, TP Poker. He asked, Dan, what are your top 5 hip hop albums of all time, and what is your favorite song?
Jeez, this is hard.
Oh man, that's nice question. Some of my answers will surprise you, but because they might be nostalgic, I'm gonna go with he's the DJ, I'm the rapper. Will Smith and DJ Jazzy Jeff. These are not in any particular order, by the way. Paid in Full, Eric B, and Rakim. Mama Said Knock You Out by LL Cool J. Wrath of that Math or Aftermath by J. Rue the Damager. Oh, fuck. Now I have one left.
Yeah. It's like you should have written them out and eliminated them.
That's fucks. Yeah, no, I would have to because then I'm going to be like, there's 5 more. But again, these are all nostalgic answers, right? Like they're like, oh, these are touch points in my life. Yeah. So the other one I'm going to have to go with is The Chronic by Dre. Okay. Right. But then I would throw in all kinds of other ones, you know, like I like Logic's The Incredible True Story a lot. I like Kendrick's To Pimp a Butterfly a lot. This is so hard. Yeah. Favorite hip hop song of all time though is probably. See, that's fucked. That's a fucked up question. I like Know the Ledge, the song from Juice, Rakim. You know, sip the juice. I got enough to go around. You know, like there's just something. There's that bass line. Yeah. Rakim is my favorite MC of all time. So, you know, he's my favorite. You notice there's no Nas, Biggie, or Jay-Z in there. Yeah. And I like them all. I like them. You're not going to hear me say, I love Tupac. Yeah. Because I don't love Tupac. I think Tupac is great. Of those guys that always get the ill repute, like, yo, the Nas, Jay-Z, Biggie, you know,
well, I would argue that it's maybe he's from an era that's just a little bit after like Rakim and the other ones that you mentioned. With, you know, LL Cool J has went on and had a long career. But this sounds.
But he's not my favorite. He's not. Yeah, it's an age bracket thing. But if you like, the better question is if we went along eras, right? Yeah. Because here's the thing, I'm older than hip hop. Okay. That's the truth of it. August 11th, 1973, at 1520 Sedgwick, DJ Kool Herc in the Rec Room did the first hip hop performance, right? I predate that by 2 months. Booyah! Okay, I was alive when Bruce Lee was still alive. These are two things that I like that I have nothing to do with. That I'm like, these are great things. But so I can go through and just go, okay, you know. Melly Mel is my favorite of that era because he just had the projection, you know, he was amazing. You know, I'm literally going to go through eras right now. When you look at Kool Moe Dee versus Run DMC, I love Run DMC, but Kool Moe Dee fucking shattered the fuck out of them when he came and rapped against them. They came with this bubblegum shit and he came and just slaughtered them. So I give him that. When you start going from into the like that is late 70s, early 80s. When you start going into the middle, I like Rakim. There's a rapper that nobody even cares about anymore called Paris. Paris was the shit. He did Devil Made Me Do It, which was just so great. Public Enemy was great. NWA. Out of the NWA guys, I was an Ice Cube fan and a Dre fan. I like Dre's production, not necessarily his flow.
Mm-hmm.
Then
that's the hard part, separating production and
yeah, exactly. That's where you go into Kanye. You go, there you have
you
to
can produce, but
yeah. Then we slide in Nas,
mm-hmm.
Guru, Jeru the Damager, even some of the California stuff I really liked. Common, really like Common's early stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Can I Borrow $1? Liked that era. Going into Jay-Z was cool. I liked B.I.G. I liked Tupac, but I still felt like there was some lacking stuff. As far as toe for toe stuff, I would go, okay, well, Eminem is amazing.
Yeah.
But if you take away guys like Tretch and some of the guys that like influenced him,
mm-hmm.
It gets real crazy, right? Like it gets convoluted. So like Tretch, his flow is ridiculous. Like that guy can spit like a hot
machine gun
fire, right? Yeah, and like better. Like you can take guys like even Logic or Tech Nine or these machine gun fire lyricists, Tretch, just like, and maybe that's my age talking. The other guys like Black Thought, Chance the Rapper, Rowery, some of the new guys coming up, I like them. Toe for Toe, my favorite right now today.
Mm-hmm.
If you said who today, who right this very second, Logic. I just say Logic, and take the Suicide Song out of the picture, because if you're a Logic fan, you go all the way back to when he was called Psychological and his Young Broken Infamous mixtape and all the Young Sinatra mixtapes, and you look at his journey and how hard that motherfucker worked and what he's doing now, and you hear the single he released last week, the 44 More, and the Overnight that he did this week. He's got a new song coming out tomorrow. The dude is legit. His lyrical content is legit. His production is legit. His flow delivery is legit. And he's a fucking nerd. He loves Rubik's Cubes and D&D and comic books and Tarantino films.
Yeah.
Fucking love that dude.
It's awesome. We have a
hold on. I just want to say, I like this segment that will forever be known as Stress Dan Out, by making him have to pick 5 things where there's a lot of shit that he would like.
Yes. Stress me the fuck out. Yeah.
All right, so I just want to hit up the chat real quick. So TP Poker was the one that asked your 5 favorite albums. His answer was Paid in Full, Illmatic, Warriors.
Yeah, Illmatic is nice.
36 Chambers.
36 Chambers and The Infamous. Cordero, Dumb Questions 87 says, bar for bar, is there any lyricist better than Lupe Fiasco?
Rakim. And we have a great question by Spacey 1998 that I want to get to, but we're going to do one more music comment here. And this is from TP Poker. He says, I was at a Vibe magazine party many years ago. Tretch stopped me as I was walking past him and said I had the baddest chain he had ever seen. That's fucking huge, because that guy wore junkyard chains. You remember that shit? Those fucking links?
Big things.
Yeah, that's real. And I see this question about my wife. From Spacey.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I, do we share mutual interests? We do. Our children, our love for each other.
We both are interested in our children.
Yeah, our love for each other. She's also very creative. She sews. She does vinyl. She's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
We first met in 1995. She was walking out of a bookstore. I was walking out of a coffee store holding my coffee, and I turned and I looked behind me and I saw her 5'1" awesome badassness, and I had
What'd
to
you
know
say?
her, so I put my coffee down and I opened up the door to the coffee shop and said, "Go ahead," and and let her get in front of me in line, and then I just spit some game, because I got game.
I mean, to be fair, you had game one time, as far as we know, and it was successful enough that we never had to test that again. So,
yeah, it's true. Hey, here's the thing that's great about my age. I've never had to online date. I've never had to do any sort of online.
You got to think about though:
anything.
Is it easier or harder?
Meeting people in person,
online,
fuck, dude,
with apps and stuff.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
I have no idea. I have friends that have done it. He's like, look at this. I had a buddy at work. He's like, look at this one. I swipe left on that bitch. Let me, and he's like going through. He's like, I think I'll go out with her. Oh, she liked my thing. She said, ha ha, blah blah blah. I think I'll meet her for coffee. And then it literally like turns up into a hookup app.
Yeah,
like, fuck that shit, man. I don't know. That's my age showing. I'm glad that I bypassed all of that.
Spacey wants to know if your now wife was walking out of a doll bookstore.
A doll? No, that's funny. Nice
call back.
Nice one, dude. That call back hookup.
So I have a question because we were talking about hip hop and you brought up Eminem, but you're also friends with Chris Kirkpatrick, and I recited that line earlier. Has there ever been any like conversation where you and Chris?
Hold on a second.
All right, go ahead.
Hold on a second. Hold on. I gotta see what my kids are doing.
No
kids,
problem.
Can I have a kiss? You want to say hi?
That's the YouTube star.
That is Lily Bell. Kisses. Love you, baby. Where's my toothpaste? I don't know where your toothpaste is. Domestic issues. I should know where the toothpaste is.
Yeah, this is why things don't get done.
Your question about Chris. The answer, if we want to get to the root of it, if I think I'm understanding where you're going is.
Well, no, the question was, not where did the beef come from, but has there ever been a time where you and him are talking about it? It's just boys being boys, and he turns to you and says, I could probably fuck up Eminem, to be honest.
No. In fact, I remember exactly where we were when we heard it. We were on Melrose. We were on Melrose in LA, and we were in a shop, and the thing came on, and I was like, yo, dude, did you fucking hear that? And he goes, hell yeah. He was so fucking stoked.
That's exactly what I would,
song. He was so stoked. There was no beef. He literally was like, I'm in an Eminem song, dude. That's fucking awesome.
That's awesome. That's
I wish I could be an Eminem song.
It's the best answer. That's the best response you could have had, too. That's hilarious.
I got this by Eminem. What?
Yeah, exactly. I've made it.
That's very cool. So you did set up your a few other cameras there. Since we're getting late into the show. Was there anything within your art studio there that you wanted to show, or is there maybe a sketch that you wanted to show us?
I can draw for you guys if you want.
I think us in the chat would love that.
Okay, cool. Well, let me do this. I'm gonna take. We're gonna move, and
no problem.
How do you switch on Duo? There, you can flip the camera like that. Okay, here you go, guys. So this is my studio. These are the books that I recommend to people that I'm teaching from.
Still learning every day. That's awesome.
Yeah, memory, drawing, perceptual training, 7 Theories of Human Nature, drawing with artists within. Your vigor for life appalls me. The love of the game, Einstein factor, drawing on the right side of the brain, natural way to draw a visual story. There's Sneetches, the one I was talking about. Mm-hmm. So backing up, here we got, if you guys are fans of Lee Bermejo, that's an original Lee Bermejo painting behind Batman who's toasting some marshmallows.
Martha!
This is that original. This is painted by my grandfather. Like that's I told you, he's a G. That's a Back to the Future hoverboard. Deadpool, my daughter when she was 1 year old. Mm-hmm. But this is Budfoot. A buddy of mine created this. He smells like brownies, and he's smoking a joint. He's fun. These are all my Rubik's cubes that I've solved and not solved. This motherfucker.
Stay in that
I fucking hate this one. This is a time machine. Legitimately, that's a time machine.
That's a heatsink for a computer for sure.
Oh no, you don't know. Watch this shit, dude. You're gonna save like 3 minutes on your day just by me hitting this switch.
All right.
There it goes. Uh-oh. Oh, the battery died. See? See what you guys did?
That's how you get stuck in 1930.
That's my wife. Check this shit out. I can't zoom in. That's my wife with a snake.
Whoa.
Awesome.
That's my wife as Rainbow
Selena?
Bright. As Rainbow Bright. That's a drawing I did of my wife.
Very nice.
Let's see. Some little print stars. It's another painting by my grandfather.
That is awesome.
This
Very good.
This is the first purchase I ever made for myself when I was a kid. It's a
Felix the Cat.
Felix the Cat. I bought it at Z Gallery. Good times. This is my microphone stand and the what do you call that? A shield bounce back thing.
It's muffler. I forgot the name of it too.
Yeah, this is the Oxygen 8 I was talking about.
I used to have that MIDI keyboard. That's awesome.
Fuck, dude, I love this thing. I love it so much. And then in this closet, there's that complete controller that I was telling you about. That 61 key.
The complete waste of money.
Yeah, trade paperbacks. Some Akai MPC Studio stuff. An easel. More books than you guys can ever read in a lifetime. I mean, really classic stuff. Like this down here is the famous artist's course, the one that you would see in the back of comic books. What else? What else is of interest? Japanese Akiras. I have like every version of Akira because I have mad love for Akira.
Are you excited about the remake?
No, I should not do that.
Reason?
Those are, a couple of copies of the Kim Jong-gi book, Reason, Complete.
Virtual Boy up there.
More drawing stuff. Going into more drawing stuff.
Knobs.
Pencil stuff, pens, more ink stuff.
Never short in supply.
More ink stuff, and then this is the desk of magic, right? And then let's see. Do I have the? Remember, I was telling you guys about the drawing the necks and shit.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you. I'll show you what I did, so you can see. So you can see that I am a crazy person that draws necks. Where is the first
cheated
page of
necks
that?
till now?
Yeah, I did. I was a big neck faker. I know there was another page of necks. Oh, here they are. This is where I started.
it's just a weird sentence that I don't think I've ever heard before.
I got a page of
necks. I have a page of necks. Okay, yeah. So I was trying to see how necks work, seeing how the connective tissue works, seeing how that works, seeing how all that works.
Those are pretty good. Yeah, I see.
And then the other thing I was working on was the first episode of the Couch Doodle Show is going to be about shapes, right? Mm-hmm. Shapes and POV, how to turn shapes in space, combining shapes and contours. And then what I was showing in my studies is how contours changes everything, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, what's interesting is if you look at these 4 worm shapes right here, they all look like they're doing different things.
Yeah.
This one's curving away from you. This is curving this way. This one is curving out. This one's curving away, right? This one is towards, like that.
Yeah.
But what's really interesting about that, and this is what I'm trying to teach people with 3D shapes, because I'm going to give a little lesson here. I'm going to try to click this in and get it fixed.
All right.
Let me see if I can get that up so we can get our sketch on. Damn, this is a heavier phone than the one I'm used to using.
Uh-oh.
There we go. This is an iPhone 7 Plus. The one I usually use is a 7 or a 6.
I call it the Pop-Tart.
But it is a Pop-Tart. That is a great name for it, dude.
It's like holding a Pop-Tart up to your face.
Okay. So, here. Cool. All right. This is
a great shot. I just want to say that it's actually a really cool shot.
So here's this C-shaped worm, right? Mm-hmm. And then I can say this is the same C-shaped worm same C-shaped worm. So those are all the same sort of worms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the power of contours, and this goes down into rendering, is that this thing, I could actually make this worm looking towards us, right? So here's the contour of it, right? So it's turned towards us. Now this one here, same shape. I could say it's going away from us.
Yeah.
Right. It's literally the same shape, like, right.
Yeah.
And this one, I can make this one coming towards us, going away from us, and then coming towards us again. Right.
That trips
and
me.
then, oh, you really want to be tripped out? Here comes this one. Right. This one's gonna fuck you up. Watch this. Suddenly now, it's not a worm at all. It's actually square links.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
And now if I put legs on that shit, it's some weird.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, but it's literally the same shape, right? So you can say shape and space. So I can have a sphere like this, but suddenly if I put a contour that goes like this, and then another one that goes like this, now you have actual reference of what that shape is.
Yeah.
You know, so this is the first thing I'm going to teach in my in my couch doodle show is shapes. So okay, so this is what we're hoping for, right? So am I allowed to put music on?
Yeah. I can play anything you request too. If you want me to play it through.
Okay. Well, I got headphones on, but I also have my computer in front of me, and I found out, like I said, that Stravinsky is what Frazetta listened to, which is fucking crazy to think about. Like, you know, you think about all those powerful things that he had done, and you go, oh shit, that's Stravinsky. Let's see. What is that? Other. Fuck it. Michael Jackson.
Yeah, do it.
All right. So, do you guys have anything preference-wise, like drawing-wise, or just?
Someone in the chat said Calvin and Hobbes, but you can draw whatever you like.
Calvin and Hobbes. I mean, if I'm gonna draw like a tiger and a kid, I'm gonna draw it the way I want to draw it.
Yeah.
I say if that's what you wanted to do. But let's see. Cordero says logo. Do you have a logo for Couch Doodles?
I do.
Let's see that.
Actually, he wanted our logo.
I'll show you. It's a guy jumping, right? So basically, I gotta make sure I'm in frame here. All right. Yeah, so good. It's a hand. The guy is like this. So you got a hand coming like this.
That perspective, like to see that in your head and then be able to write it down is nuts.
Well, this is all sloppy too because we're going fast.
Yeah.
Your sloppy is like my best day 100 times that.
You gotta get a better pen. Here we go. So
gotta have the right tool.
Yeah. So, that one was running out of ink. So what I'm thinking about when I'm drawing this stuff is the form, right? Mm-hmm. So one of the things I'm able to do, and this is something that I talked about in the panel that Shane had seen in Dallas, is I'm seeing it already done, right? So like I know this arm is going to come down, his head's going to be here, this other arm's here, his knee is going to be here, the other knee is going to be here. So what I'm thinking about as I do it is I'm thinking about the construction, which is one of the reasons I wanted to make sure I looked at that neck today, because again, I'd been faking it all this time. When I say faking it, what I'm saying is like if the way I used to draw before is I knew about the trapezius, I knew about the collarbone, I knew there was a neck shape, I knew that this line came here, and I knew this line came here, and then I would draw a head, right? Oh, okay. Like that's how I thought a neck worked. But in reality, you got your collarbone, you've got the larynx thing here, the what is that, sterno something mastoid that comes here. this other piece that comes here. There's another thing that comes here, another one that comes there, and a trapezius that comes here. So that's a real neck.
Jeez.
Like that, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that, and knowing that, and knowing like, okay, that form goes like this, and that wraps this way, this goes that way, that goes this way. And I'm thinking about when I draw that in my mind, or I see it in my mind's eye. Now I have more information than just this round two things going like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know that this part of the arm goes like that, but also I want to add some extra stuff. Let's make that a elbow pad because it's the 90s.
Yeah. Even though these superheroes are super strong, they, safety first.
Well, yeah, man. Sure. Pain is pain, man. So then I think about the deltoid here. I go, okay, well, what can I do? I can accentuate this contour here. And one of the things I can do is create eye candy. I can go, okay, well, let's say this side or this side has texture. Let's say this darker side has texture. And I go, okay, this light source is coming here. I know that the contour of this goes like this. So I hit that up with some rendering. And I say that's darker. Do the same idea here. Like that. And I go, okay, that's how that rendering will look.
Yeah.
On that. And then I go, okay, well, since he's going this way, the contour of his torso is going to be here. Again, this is all stuff I'm seeing in my head before I'm putting it down, and it's actually a little more detailed in my mind. But again, we're going fast for the sake of demonstration.
I know you're saying that you think of like a smell and you visualize. You use all your senses to kind of come up.
That's right. That's exactly right. And you know what? After talking at that panel, I actually thought of another exercise to help people. Because I had talked about the image streaming, describing stuff you see in your head, which is really a good exercise as far as creating stuff that doesn't exist. But I was thinking, like, how can we supplement that? Like, what is a way way to make that stronger and more enriched? And what that is like. And it'd be embarrassing as fuck to do it in public because you would seem like a crazy person. But doing the same thing with what you see in front of you, right? Like for example, like in front of me, set of keys, sharp, the orientation 8 o'clock to 6 o'clock key down. I mean, it sounds crazy, like crazy talk.
Yeah.
But I'm observing what's in front of me, and literally, if I close my eyes and I remember Batman, suddenly I see that image in front of me as if it was in front of me again.
Yeah, there's something to be said about even in studying, a lecture or whatever. If you say it out loud in your own words, now you have a memory imprinted of you actually saying it, so it gets a little more solidified than if you just heard it, kind of thing.
And I drew this guy's head way too big.
No, it's all good. We actually have a request to draw a chimp, so I don't know if you can turn that into a chimp man.
A chimp? Yeah, I can do that. Let's do it. Fucking chimp love. All right, hold on.
These people are weird.
All right.
It's the internet.
It is. That reminds me of a story. This is like 2001 or 2002, and we were having the argument of you can find anything on the internet, right?
Yeah, Rule 42, I think it was too.
Yeah, and my buddy was like, "Yeah, you ain't gonna find." This is Ray, the guy that was dating Fergie. He goes, "Yeah, you ain't gonna find." You ain't gonna find Granny's fucking camels, bro. And I said, I'll find it, right? Because I was like, yeah, I'll find it, and and I could not find that, but I could find and this is like 2002, right? I could find granny porn, and I could find camels. So being that I was an avid Photoshop user since version 1, I easily made some granny camel porn to dispel the idea that it didn't exist.
Yeah.
Which was cheating. It was cheating, but suddenly it did exist, right? Because I made it.
Yeah.
And but I just remember thinking like, the internet it has everything, but they did not have granny camel porn at the time. At the time.
Yeah.
We've revised it. Okay, so I made chimp, and we're gonna put a little space visor on them because space bugs.
Yeah, safety first.
Safety first. There you go. We don't know if he's strong or not.
Yeah, that's true.
I always thought about that. Like, I had a conversation the other day where I was just killing time with people, and we're like, I was with my kids. I said, invisible or being able to fly. And they're like, fly, and I'm like, that's dumb.
Yeah.
And they're like, why is that dumb? Being able to fly would be fun. I said, have you ever stuck your head out a window when the car is going by? You know how hard it is to see.
Yeah.
I'm like, you could fly, but you have to be like flying at the speed of like walking.
Yeah. It gets hard to breathe when the air's blowing in your face that fast
exactly,
too.
Exactly. It's like nobody ever thinks about that shit. Like, and I do because of like Edgar Allan Poe tales, like monkey paw and shit. It's like, be careful what you wish for.
Mm-hmm.
You go, okay, well, yes, I would like to fly, but I would also like my skin to be impervious to any damages. I'd like my eyes to be able to see no matter how fast I could go. I want to be able to breathe. It's like all these little caveats.
Yeah.
So Cordero says he just found granny camel toes on Google, and that it
Not
took
camel toes.
and he said it took him longer to look away than he would have thought.
Oh my god, I can't believe, what the hell is this shit? Oh, I best turn away.
Well, that's not so bad.
It's like watching a car wreck. You can't look away.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right. Should we give the chimp a robot arm?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
He's
give him a
all
robot
about
arm.
safety because he lost that arm at some point.
Yeah. All right.
It's
let's
also
give
a
him-
running theory on the new Infinity War is that Iron Man's going to lose his arm. There's some toys coming out that are indicating
Oh yeah, the
that.
Toy Expo just happened, didn't it?
Yeah.
I
think it might be a spoiler.
Did it happen in a comic? But that's interesting. That is an interesting.
I think they're
thing.
gonna really try not to do anything big that happened in a comic because they're so
They don't
worried
spoil
about
it.
spoilers. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, is Iron Man? Yeah, I don't know. I hope he keeps his arm.
Yeah.
I mean, does he really need it?
Hey, you heard it here, folks. Dan Fraga wants Iron Man to keep his arm.
Yeah, keep his arm. All right. So there's a bit of a robot hand,
Let's see it. Yeah.
and then
I'm not quite sure what this means, but TP Poker says, nice set of beef curtains.
What?
he wants.
Oh,
me
he's
to
talking
draw
about.
nice-
No.
Oh,
He's-
he's still talking about grandma.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess he's talking about grandma.
Why do they got to be beef curtains all the time? Whatever happened to like pork drapes?
Pork drapes,
You know?
that's a new one.
Yeah. If you're gonna go through lunch meat, don't leave out ham.
Oh Jesus. I think it's the whole gray color of the skin that turns people off. I don't know.
Oh God.
Shit.
All right.
This is awesome.
It's cool seeing it come together because I think in my mind I'm watching some of the things and I'm like, all right, that hand looks, like when you first start, I'm like, that hand looks stupid, and then I'm like, oh yeah, it's because I'm not looking at it right.
Yeah. Or
No,
because,
this is a
Completely
bad
different
hand.
direction.
This is a bad hand though.
No, it wasn't even that. Like I was looking at it as if the hand was like pointing in a different direction and all that. That I completely understand.
it's also like, it's how different everybody's mind works. Like, especially when I watch other people draw, like where they choose to start, like they might start from the inside out or whatever it is. So you don't even know what they're doing until they like surround the picture, or outline what he's working on.
I try to draw foreground to background. That's
okay.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
That's what I try to do is things that are in front of other things. I try to draw first, just so for overlap purpose. When you're drawing in ink. But then you can also do other stuff. Like for example, if I go, this guy's got a cable that comes up, over, and around, but then I stop here because I know like I want to put something there. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you can do both ways, and let's just come back around this.
There you go. So while you do this, and you can interrupt any time to tell us about this, I mentioned earlier being a big Spawn fan, story and character. How are you feeling with Todd McFarlane's idea for this reboot? I don't know if you've caught it.
I didn't catch it. I've been talking to Todd. He wanted me to do a cover, and I did a bunch of layouts, and he didn't like any of them. So we're just probably in a different place when it comes to that. I didn't know anything about a reboot.
He's still pitching it around.
Fresh. I think you mean as far as his movie?
Yeah, Spawn.
Or
no, he's rebooting Spawn in a movie. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I think it's probably a good idea. I mean, the idea itself was very 90s.
It was. Yeah. And the problem, the concern I have from the concept art he has, it's turning it into more of a horror flick where he's like a ominous being, and it's not very detailed. Like he's in the shadows often, and from what I can tell,
that's a budget issue,
and it's not Al Simmons anymore.
Yeah, the being in the shadows is a budget thing.
Yeah,
think about Jaws, the shark not working. Going back, call back. Think about the shark not working. He could have better production values if you don't see the thing, because then you don't have to show the thing, because he's producing the movie himself, right?
Yeah.
Like, so that's actually a cost thing.
All right.
Sorry, Todd, if you ever catch this, sorry for busting you, but that's exactly.
He's actually next week's guest.
Well, he knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It's just crazy. Like, it just made me think about, like, when you're rebooting something, especially in the comic book world, I feel like you can go as far as you want, but when you're going into Hollywood, like, I feel like it's dangerous to step away so far from the source material.
I don't know, man. Sure. It worked out so good in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer.
It did. I mean, come on. You can buy that Galactus playset like in your front yard. You just make that shit. I think they were going.
Kids playing with figurines. You just throw sand in their face and go Galactus,
Galactus, bitch. Planet destroyed.
You can tell by the remnants of dust.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's rough. I had another reboot related question or something. I forget what it was now. I'm just enthralled by this.
Yeah, me too. It's hypnotizing. It's very soothing to watch. So it's, we're all going, mute over here, not chatting it up about anything. It's because we're like,
that's all right, man. It's hypnotizing for me too. And the hardest thing for me in all of this is being able to be in two places at once. And what I mean by that is, like, when I'm at my best, like when I'm literally like just firing on all cylinders, it's me, music, and no talking, and I'm
sure
I'm in like another place. I'm not thinking about anything but what's going down. So right now I'm splitting my attention, and one of the things that ends up happening, especially if I've been working for a couple of hours, it's like my wife will come in and talk to me, and I will reply back to her in some semblance of gibberish because I'm seriously like,
she's
I'm
like, are you having a
like,
stroke?
Yeah, no, I'm completely nonverbal at that point. I'm thinking about shapes and relationships and mood and overall feeling of things, and she'll say some shit like, "You gonna pick up Lily Bell, or you gonna, whatever," and I'll just be like, and and yeah, stroke victim is a good one. Let's give him a chimp tail.
So what's the secret of drawing superhero crotches, since they're so prevalent?
The bigger the better.
You're funny, man. That reminds me of a story, right? Okay, and this is an absolute true story. And we're gonna move the camera now because I'm almost done with this guy. Okay, so there we go. There's chimp guy with a robot arm. Okay,
there you go. For you, Spacey.
So there you go, buddy. And so we're gonna move over to some of my buddy's artwork.
Okay.
Let's see if you can see it.
Ooh.
Okay, see that creepy dude?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then that, and then look at that. Okay. What's amazing about these is they're all done on Post-it. See my hand?
Yeah.
That threw me off because I thought it was like a regular size picture on the wall until your hand went up.
No. This is like a Post-it.
Jeez.
Awesome.
Right? So that's my buddy Petty. His name is Petty, and he used to draw a book for Extreme called Supreme. We talked about Supreme a little bit, and he had a very Todd McFarlane like style. And when he was doing the book, he was drawing very purely, even though it was like a McFarlane type style. And go back and look at him, okay? If you get a chance to,
sure.
He was drawing the spandex very realistically.
So it's like a little mushroom head, just kind of.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, so I remember Rob having a conversation with him and trying to be as diplomatic as possible. And Rob said to him, "Petty, I really like what you're doing, but I'm really concerned with certain portions of your artwork." And Rob's a Christian. I'm Christian too, but Rob is very hardcore. And he says to Petty, he says, "When the fans want hamburgers, don't give them hot dogs." and he was like, he's pointing right at Supreme's crotch because Petty was drawing the shapes, the crescent moon, pink Darth Vader.
Sure.
Yeah.
The non-connecting tube.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So we have another question from the chat from Spacey1998 who got to see her crazy chimp drawn. Now you've talked about the Punisher a few times, and I'm going to go on a limb and say that he was probably a character that influenced you when you first started drawing, maybe, or was one of your favorite characters.
I liked him a lot. Yeah, especially Mike Zeck's rendition. I also enjoy Will Spertasio, and I really enjoyed Klaus Janson. But I'll tell you, the surprise for me was, and I'm going to turn off Michael Jackson because Annie's walking and she's okay.
She's been okay for 30 plus years.
He's asked over and over, "Are you okay?" And she's okay. But it was Zach was my favorite for the longest time because of the way he drew him.
Mm-hmm.
But there was, do you guys remember Punisher Warzone?
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that came out after. That came out like 2006, something like that.
Maybe even earlier.
Right.
It was John Romita Jr.
All right.
Okay. Well, there's a sequence where Punisher is torturing this dude, right? And he's like hanging upside down. And Punisher walks up to him and he pulls out this blowtorch.
Oh, and then he has the ice pop. And
Yes. And he's burning the steak, but he's holding the popsicle to the dude's back.
Yeah.
And I went, my God, this is the best shit I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that shit like done changed my mind.
Yeah, that was actually the one that they shot in Tampa. The question from Spacey was, have you watched any of the Netflix Marvel series like The Defenders or Punisher? And what do you think?
I tried, and I'm switching headphones again because my battery's about to die. Hold on a second.
No worries.
1, 3. Yeah, it said low battery. Hold on. Plugging in. I think these are back to 100%. So
sweet.
Awesome.
You guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Good. I have a wonderful wife that I watch TV with. And if she doesn't watch it with me, I don't watch it.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, because I'm a loving man.
You're a smart man. That's what you're saying.
I think that's the same thing we all talk about. Danny Cordero and I, that's all the sort of the same thing. It's hard to find you can't watch a show on your own.
This is how I spend most of my show watching.
Yeah, exactly.
Privately,
I spend my. This is where the name Couch Doodles came from, by the way. Because you can only watch Hoarders and Intervention so many times. So I got to see 2 episodes of Daredevil. I saw 1 episode of Punisher. I saw 1 episode of Luke Cage. None of Iron Fist. None of Defenders.
Well, you're not missing anything on Iron Fist, so you're fine there.
Okay. I liked Punisher. I think he's perfect. I think he Frank. What's his face? What's his name? John Abernathy or
John Bernthal. John Bernthal.
Yeah.
There we go. He's perfect. He is the Punisher.
Mm-hmm. He's got the mannerisms.
I wanted to see more of that. I did. Of the Daredevil I saw, I thought Foggy casting was good. I thought Charlie Cox was a good choice. I think the costume department sucks balls. I think the fighting was nice. Though from what I've seen, because I've seen highlights, it seems like they milked the same fight scene over and over for every fight scene.
Yeah, I think I got that feeling without actually knowing the ins and outs of it. I did get that feeling.
Yeah, but I'm talking from a perspective of only seeing a handful.
Yeah. Well, so you never got to season 2 of Daredevil where they introduced the Punisher?
No.
I mean, if we ever get it, I mean, it's not going anywhere. It's on Netflix. If you get the opportunity, I'd say that's, as far as like anything that Marvel has done, season 2 of Daredevil, when they introduced the Punisher, is one of my favorite things.
It almost.
See, this is the problem, though, man. Here's the thing. Watch Daredevil season 2. Work on the mixtape.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah, because that's. I mean, it's fucked. The amount of time that I have is so slim that it literally boils down to that. Like, I'll get up at 4:30 in the morning and I'll go, okay, while I'm taking a shit, I can read a chapter of this book.
Yeah.
And then when I'm on the treadmill, I can watch a tutorial on how this Logic Auto-Tune plugin works. Yeah. Once I get off the treadmill, while I'm taking a shower, I can think about this storyline or the curriculum for my, like, it's literally like every sliver of time I'm like trying to. Yeah.
And still, you somehow were able to donate to us.
It's your time,
2.5 hours. It's so
yeah. You guys, we're almost working on 4. What you talking about?
Right?
We started. Yeah, it's almost. It is 8:35 over here.
Wow, I think we had lost track of time. I was gonna go up on a small thing, because you don't get the opportunity, or we don't get the opportunity all the time to talk to somebody who has been in, the comic book world and Hollywood, and with Fox being sold or is in the process of being sold to Disney. I was curious if you had any of your own picks for people you would like to see play, for instance, Wolverine, the new Wolverine character, or if you were going to cast the X-Men and the Fantastic Four in Disney, who could you pick? You don't have to do everybody, but let's say like Wolverine or Storm and like.
And we'll do one for you. We'll go ahead and recast Gambit right off the bat.
No Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
Man, I always thought that a young Jean-Claude Van Damme would have done a good job.
As
As
Wolverine.
Gambit?
You know,
Or as Wolverine?
as Gambit.
As
As
Gambit.
Gambit. I mean, he pretty much was that character in Hard Target.
But he doesn't have the height.
Yeah, you can
but
fix that
neither
with film.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the tricks, man. Tom Cruise is a midget. You know? So, and that's tough because I'm not really keen. This is the fucked up thing, and this is something I have to explain about modern pop culture references. I try to stay in tune as much as I can,
Sure.
but in an effort to be as creative as possible, I choose to spend a lot of the time in the zone or the world that I create in my own head. And that sounds crazy, but you know, when I think of the Fantastic Four, I think about purist ideas and no knocking on Josh Trank and what he did or Tim Story and what he did, but like Jessica Alba, bad choice for Sue. I thought Chris Evans is perfect, but he's capped now. But he was perfect for Johnny Storm. He was Johnny Storm. I think Michael Chiklis is a good Ben Grimm thing. As far as people today, I don't know enough about the actors that are working today to be
Fair
like
enough.
he's the one. Because even with like Wolverine, I go, fuck, Hugh Jackman embodied him so much.
He is
I'm glad
Wolverine.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
like you know, Howard Stark is or Tony Stark is Robert Downey Jr.
Because he doesn't have to act.
right.
irreplaceable.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the fact that Brian Hitch had him drawn as Timothy Dalton, you go, what if? But I don't know. I mean, I can give you like my dream casting on certain people. Like I always thought that Willem Dafoe, even at this age, would make a perfect Joker.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got the facial
think
structure.
He just, especially the one out of the Dark Knight Returns, I thought Clint Eastwood in his prime, like in Heartbreak Ridge, would have been a good Batman, like the Dark Knight version of Batman. But like I said, if you wanted modern stuff, fuck, man, that's a difficult one because it's like, I would go with unknowns. To be honest with you, I would use the old Lucas formula of using unknowns, but staying with the core of the character. I think that would be the most important thing. Is like, you know, Johnny Storm, all-American quarterback type athlete, sort of archetypical. Go that way. You know, I'm all about equal opportunity and equal rights and diversification, but diversification for diversification's sake is stupid to me. Let's make her black. Let's make her a girl. Come on. Does the character demand it? Yes.
And there's plenty that they, you know, you can get female characters that are female. You know,
Yeah,
like
I
you
think
don't
there's
have to
something-
turn them.
And I think there's something to be said that instead of sort of recreating old characters, why not just create someone new from the ground up? That way you're not just rehashing somebody. Although I see it both ways, but I think there's something to be said for that. If for instance, let's say the Black Panther came out and it was originally just like a completely different character, and then they changed up the cast, I don't think it would have had as much heart if that was the case. Whereas with it now, it's a you know, the whole cast is African American, and it has more heart because of that, because it was an original character.
It takes place in Africa, and it's a true story. I mean, you don't want to do any sort of cultural appropriation, but I believe that works on every way, every side of it, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, that's cool that Johnny Storm was an African American in the new Fantastic Four, but like, for what reason? You know, if you can give me an actual reason, like this actor actually nailed Johnny Storm the best, and cool. But if you said we were trying to do something different, well, that's not a reason. You know,
I can see that.
But anyway, we're getting thick in the weeds on that. But
well, I mean,
when it comes to casting, I say find the archetypical idea of what that character is, because he means something. Like Peter Parker, I get a clear vision of who Peter Parker is supposed to be. He's supposed to be sort of a decent, good-looking, nerdy kid.
Yeah.
That is good at heart, and that's who he is. And you look at Reed Richards, and he's a middle-aged nerdy scientist. You look at Doctor Doom, and he's a vain guy who covered his face because he had a single scar. Like you go into like who they are as characters, but then you also, it's like if they made Akira and they made Kaneda or Tetsuo like Ryan Gosling or
like they did in Ghost in the Shell,
or what, right? I'd go, fuck you. You guys are not getting it right.
Or who was they cast in the Doctor Strange movie?
Tilda Swinton.
Yeah, and that didn't make any sense to me.
No,
I think I saw that there were.
Yeah.
No, I was just being hopeful. Like, I hope that lessons are learned from things like Fantastic Four and Ghost in the Shell, where you whitewashed, a clearly Asian movie. That I hope they learn their lesson as well when they, they've been talking about making a Cowboy Bebop, live action movie.
God.
Like I said, this is the stress Dan out hour.
It is. No, I mean, make it animated and have Steve Bloom voice it. That's how you do it correctly.
That's what made that show is the US dub.
Yeah. I just say stay with what made the character lovable in the first place, and you'll be fine. Because it'll transcend across if you stay pure on who the character is, no matter their race, creed,
culture,
sexual orientation, whatever, gender. It doesn't matter. Like stay with what made the character, and if you need a new character, like you said, make a new character.
Because there needs to be there's something more to be said. Not necessarily that you would, for lack of a better word, shit on the director for casting, but there's something to be said for people just not having representation in comics in the first place.
Yes.
Right. Well, I do want to make a Snoopy movie where he's a llama.
I would watch that.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Just be a Peruvian version of Snoopy, and Snoopy is a llama, and
and Woodstock is a little guinea pig.
Yeah, guinea pig.
Guinea pig. Yeah. No, it doesn't. It's like pandering in a way. It's like if you're gonna pander to the audience, the original audience of the thing.
Yeah.
Instead of whatever. But going back to the system where you say you hope they learn their lesson, the problem is with the way the system works. And the way the system works is, let's say you have a fantastic movie idea, and if that movie idea is unproven, not unperuvian, but unproven, they go to these lists, right? And these lists are basically like investment lists. If you have this person, this person, this person, this person, that's why they call them A list, B list, D list. That's where they get this from. They have a list, and they go, if you have Matt Damon in this movie, we will invest this amount of money. If it's Brad Pitt, we will invest this much. If it's so-and-so, this much. So here are these people that get the rights to whatever, let's call it Akira or Ghost in the Shell, and they go, well, this fucking movie is going to take us $80 million or however much to make. Just alone, we need this much for the CG. Okay. Unknown actress. How much does that get us from investors? Nothing. Better cast somebody that they know. Who's going to put butts in seats statistically list-wise? Oh, Scarlett Johansson. Let's try her out.
Yeah.
Like, it's broken. That's the thing, is it's like X-Men will sell itself. Fantastic Four will sell itself, but they need to stay on board, and their cadence in which they introduce the characters needs to be on point, which Kevin Feige knows how to do. He knows how to do that. If it was Fantastic Four, he would probably introduce a character that would be a stellar, like, whoa, fuck yeah, like the Thing, and we would see him in a way that was like, God damn, I need to see more of the Thing. Like that's generally his formula. That's why with Spider-Man being in the what was that, the Civil War, it was like he was the extra fucking spice on top of that movie.
The Sazon.
Yes, I know, exactly. So the fact that he was in that made you want to see Homecoming. I was like, dude, I like this kid. I've never seen one of the Andrew Garfield ones. I've seen the tail end of one where they were running around the city like Jamie Foxx in blue paint or whatever, and I was like,
I kind of lost track of the Spider-Man movies after they introduced Venom, and it was awful. And
that third one was horrible.
Yeah, but Tom Holland as Spider-Man is phenomenal. He does a really good job. He embodies Spider-Man in the same way that Robert Downey Jr. handles Tony Stark, and
that's right.
You know, Hugh Jackman and all that. I know you're getting extremely tired over there.
What are you talking about? It's almost 11 for you. Where are you, Danny? Where are you at?
Florida. So almost midnight.
So you're aiming at midnight.
Yeah.
You're aiming at midnight. We're trying to see who taps out, right?
This is about where we're at anyway. So
we're trying to see who taps out. Oh, we're doing this all day. This is like a telethon. You guys just start dropping subscriptions in there and giving us bits, and we'll make $5.
Let's get some more questions. This is what I told you, man. No questions.
There's no dumb question.
Yeah, no dumb question. Any question.
Well,
all right, cool. So
I was going to ask, a little bit about the grave. If you wanted to properly plug that. I know we mentioned that, but
yes.
And if you love to, if you have anything else that you can plug, that's. But
I would love to. Okay, this is plug time. Okay. I'm not even going to prioritize this. First off, anybody that's watching, subscribe to youtube.com/couchdoodles. Right now, there's some old videos of me doing some teaching and stuff where I have a beard down to here and I look like a homeless person. Watch those; they're fun. But the new show is coming very soon. Got the mixtape coming. You guys are gonna be like, "Damn, I remember when I saw him on MTQ Live and he said this shit."
True.
That's all I'm saying about that. The Grave is going to be coming from IDW this fall, and I'm going to plug it in a way that is going to be kind of exciting. Okay. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to show you the cover of the book.
Okay.
Because it's recently been drawn, and I'm going to have to. Where'd my other phone go that changes light temperatures? It doesn't matter. So this is we there we go. Let me switch there we go. Switch. Whoa, that's not what I want. There we go. That's Bluetooth. There it is. Switch. So this is the cover of the grave. So we got the grave site itself, some of the items that are in the grave, the logo, some more of the items, and then upside down. This is probably going to flip for you guys. Damn, it flipped. Okay. The underside of this is the circus. Now here's the fun stuff I'm going to show you is it's hidden. It's hidden in a secret box.
Okay.
Look, did we lose Shane?
No.
No, I'm still here. I'm still here.
Oh, okay. It looks like a question mark. Okay. I got to go into the secret stash.
Okay.
And you guys, this is
we all know where it is now.
This is going to be. Yeah, no, you don't, because I actually kept it off camera.
Yeah. It's in that room.
So see this here?
Oh, snap.
It's a loot crate box.
That's cool.
Okay. This is what a lot of people don't know about the grave, which is just going to be like, what the fuck? Okay. So, first off, here's my daily sketchbook from 2014. Did you guys ever see this?
I did catch up on it. My girlfriend definitely watched a few of through Instagram, and I watched some of the videos on YouTube.
Yeah, let me pull that up real quick so you guys can see it. This was an idea by my buddy Kenneth, and I basically did a sketch a day for a year. I did some in color, and I try to vary up like different things: black and white, color, watercolor, abstract, skulls.
Oh.
Yeah, this thing was a lot of fun. July was
Very
the month
cool.
of skulls, but anyway, this whole book, and it's that big. It's smaller
Awesome.
than my hand, right? So drawing small is something that I can do.
You can put that on your resume. I can draw small.
Yeah. Okay. Now this is where the magic's coming in. See this right here?
Mm-hmm.
These are the originals from the grave. The entire story fits in this box. That's the entirety of the story.
Okay.
And the way that's possible is the entire thing was drawn on trading cards.
That's brilliant, actually.
See this? So let me lock the camera off real quick, and I'll show you. So this is box 1. There are a total of 8 of these boxes. Okay.
Okay.
So this is box 1. That's why it's labeled box 1. So in here, every day I would come home from work or sometimes start my day.
Mm-hmm.
This was here. I'll pull some of these up. So that was day 1. There's day 2, panel 2, panel 3, panel 4, panel 5, panel 6. So these are my originals. These are literally the things I drew on, right?
Okay.
Yeah, this isn't a trading card set. These are the actual drawings. I drew them small because I knew I only had so much time in the day.
Sure.
And then these are actual places. Like this is where I bought some of my comics when I was a kid, a place called Cases in Martinez. And then you'll notice here, if you're a big time fan of comics, that these are historically accurate to the story. This is September 1989. Spider-Man. This was the Spider-Man that was on stands. This is the X-Men. This is that annual, which happened to be a Liefeld annual. This is Rob Liefeld's annual.
Oh, cool.
That's a Wolverine saga that is a Rob Liefeld cover. Mark Silvestri cover, McFarlane cover.
I think the Wolverine saga might actually be the first comic book I ever had.
Well, there you go. So anyway, the grave was drawn one day at a time on these trading cards.
Awesome.
And I did it because I had read this book by Stephen Pressfield called The War of Art. Sounds like the art of war, but it's the war of art, right? And it's it's a book about getting off your ass and creating the things that you've always wanted to or have talked about creating, whether it's a mixtape or a graphic novel or a YouTube show or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And
Twitch talk show.
And there you go, Twitch talk show. And I had all of these like reasons that I couldn't, right? Oh, I have a 3-hour drive. I've got kids. I've got a full-time job. And then I started thinking about like the regrets, you know, like what would happen? Like I've thought about this story for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Do I go another 5 years? Do I go another 5 years and not have it done?
Yeah.
Or do I go, okay, well, I've got like a couple hours a day. What can I draw? A panel, right? So I was like, I can do this. So I did a graphic novel over a year. The following year, I did a sketch a day. I did the freestyle a day, where you know it was cool, and it actually helped aid in the forethought, the being able to project things down, because it's the same thing with freestyle rap is exactly the same thing as when I drew that chimp with the arm, right? Like I go, okay, it's almost like time travel, right? So like if I think of like if you guys gave me like a series of words. Literally, I would think of 4 rhyme schemes. I would think of
orange.
How to get in and orange door hinge.
Door hinge? Close enough. I'll give it to you.
No. Watch this. You can do this. You know, you can say, "I've been kicking, stand and deliver." People say nothing rhymes with silver. People also say nothing rhymes with purple. Did I do that? Go ask Urkel. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you can, there are things like that. Like if you say nothing rhymes with orange, open up the door. Oops, squeaky door hinge. You know what I mean? Like it's, so, but people try to throw that shit. Porridge is a hard one though.
Porridge.
Yeah.
Door hinge.
But then you go, door hinge, storage. Storage.
Everything's door hinge.
I got some porridge and storage. And then she said, "Act your age." Yeah, but yeah, no. Freestyle rapping is the same thing. It's seeing into the future, and approaching it, right. And that, to me, that's also the secret to success for anybody that wants to do it. Though, I just got this shirt from Walmart. And it's a good one. It's got a quote from Mike Tyson on it. Do you guys know what do you know what the quote is? Other than Kith?
This ear tastes funny.
Yeah. This is waxy. No, it says everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
I know that quote. Yeah.
I love that quote.
Yeah, it's a good one.
But this is what I say. It's the time travel principle, and it works for freestyle rap. It works for chess, and it works for this drawing technique. It's seeing it as if it already is, and then approaching it. Right. So, like, if you say to yourself, "I'm going to be a great director," or "People are going to love my music," and the more specific you can be and the more clear you can be in whatever the thing is that you're creating that's in the future, if you can embrace it as if it's already happened, and then now you're rewinding and walking towards it again, then it becomes much easier.
All right.
That's the secret.
It's a great way of thinking about it. And
I'm here thinking about how am I going to apply it to my daily life. That's why I'm like zoned out. Like, how do I do that?
You can. Well, this is what you have to ask, and you have to be so super hyper, like down to the core of something. The question is, because I was talking to my youngest brother. I have 4 brothers. My youngest brother's his birthday is on Sunday, and he is 13 years younger than I am. And he said to me, "I just still don't know what I want to do."
Wow.
Right. And I was like, "Okay, you're going to be 32, man." He's like, "I know." And I said, it's strange to me because I knew what I wanted at like 13. Like 11, I had an inkling, but at 13, I was like, I'm doing this. What you need to ask yourself is, if you had everything taken care of bill-wise, right? Food, shelter, no debt, your car is your car. You're not rich, but every day you can wake up and you go, I don't have to worry about shit. Okay? You're not rich, but every day you can go, everything's taken care of.
Yeah.
What would bring you joy in your day? That's the question. And for me, it's making music, writing stories, drawing pictures, teaching people.
Yeah.
That's what I'd want to do. If everything was taken care of, this is what I would want to do all day long. And I go, well, that's what I need to be aiming towards. That's the goal, right? Why do I like making music? Like, and you can ask all those questions. Why do I like making music? Why did I want to make comics when I was a kid? I liked the feeling I got when I read comics. I loved it. There was just nothing like it. So I had some, pussy or whatever, but but still, I mean, comics are readily available. So
cheap.
But yeah, and I said, wouldn't that be great to give that to other people, right? Like, can I be the one that makes somebody happy? Can I be the one that does that? So that was like part of the thing, is like I wanted to be involved in making that feeling, right? It's the same thing with music. Like, good music, shit that makes you bob your head, stuff that you just like, yeah, like you give the stank face. You just like, this is the shit. Well, I want to make that too. I want to make somebody make a stink face. I want somebody to hear my lyrics and be like inspired. Yeah. I want somebody to be inspired. So going back to like how to make that applicable to your own life, you go, okay, well, what do I want? Ask yourself, what do I want? What would I be doing if shit was taken care of? What do I want? Okay, now what can I do today to inch closer to that? See it as if it was so, behave as it so. Because if you walk into a room, let's say you go, you know what? I know I'm going to be the sickest producer ever. I know it. Well, when you walk into any situation, know that, behave as such, so that when you are, people will tell stories about when they met you when.
Yeah.
If you behave that way. Because if you behave like an asshole, you're gonna be an asshole all the way down.
People remember that.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Do you ever have the feeling this happened with music production, and I'm just curious how you overcome it, where I especially got inspired with music production when there wasn't anything new coming out for the most part, so I wasn't listening to entirely new music besides for study purposes and whatnot. And then you hear a brand new track by whoever, and it just blows you away, and you're just like, there is no way I can make that. That sounds so good. How do I make something better than that? Like, you just start, like,
Okay, I got an answer for you, because I had to say this same sentence to my own self after I heard Logic's new track.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Comparison is the thief of joy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know that if I really want to be a better version of me, I'm only going to race me. I have to be racing me. Because when I hear him spitting syllables as fast as he is, and his rhyme schemes being as complex as they are, and I go, okay, he's in fucking 12th grade, and I'm in 3rd grade right now.
Yeah.
Fuck. Well, I got to stop comparing myself to a 12th grader, first of all. Second of all, I got to be the dopest 3rd grader I can be. Okay. Then I need to make sure that motherfucking 3rd graders go, get him out of here.
He needs to be in 4th grade.
That motherfucker need to be in 4th grade right now. That's because comparison is a thief of joy. I have not put in the hours that Logic has.
Yeah.
Right. And or whatever situation happened where you heard that music that you're like, oh fuck, I'm never gonna do this. Well, then. Or the other one that happens a lot in this business of entertainment is, God damn, that was my movie idea. Fuck.
Yeah.
Right?
I can see that.
Well, if all you have is one gosh darn idea, then you don't be needing to be making ideas if you only got the one.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And if you're getting shattered by one track and go, I'll never do that, then you're out of the game. Mm-hmm. You took yourself out of the game. I told this story, I think at Dallas, but one of the people that I idolized told me I wasn't going to make it. Eric Larson told me that I'd be better off making pizzas, that I was never going to draw comic books.
Jeez.
I said, thank you for that Duraflame log. I'm going to fucking rocket past you, motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? Like,
Did you get to rub it in space later?
Yeah, I did. And,
nice.
I still get along with him, and it turns out he said that to a lot of people, but that's just it. Like,
that's the way he works.
I'm not gonna, like, when I'm making music, I'm not after Future, I'm not after Drake, I'm not after Kendrick, I'm not after Logic, I'm not after Cole, even though these are all guys that I'm like, I respect them and what they're doing. I'm after me, and how can I beat me? And how can I be truthful? Because the reality of it, and going back to the whole thing when we were talking about manga and, coming up with a drawing style, what's a more important story, it's what you have to say. It's literally what you have to say that matters, right? So and we can go on, like, if it's a music thing, you can go, well, flow matters. Yeah, flow does matter. But it's also the emphasis of your point, right? Like, so if you have something to say, does it support it? It goes back to the whole drawing thing. Does the way you draw support the story you want to tell? Do your choices support the purity of what you have to say? And if you're out to make money, then cool. Then that's that. But if you're in it to make shit, then rewinding, have I ever heard something that knocks me down? Yes, all the time, but I remind myself that comparison is the thief of joy, and the only person I have to beat is me.
I like it.
That's deep, man.
Deep. Going back to the grave real quick, I have a couple of questions. One, did you script it ahead of time, or did you just go along as you drew it every day?
It's a combination. right? So I had a few things happening. Number one, day-to-day life was happening, right? So the 9 to 5 job, the 3 hour commute, the 3 kids, the wife, the all of that, right? So I had that pressure. I also have the pressure of family vacation or birthdays or being sick and that stuff. I had an idea in my head of there's these kids, they find this thing, tell the story of this thing. There's 7 items. Those 7 items represent concepts of human nature. I'm going to tell those things through this story, and I have 365 single panels in which to do it. So at first I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go. I have an outline in my head. As long as I'm at act 2 by this date, act 3 by this date, I should be fine. Then I realized as I went along, new ideas would spring up, and I would go off on little tangents, and then be like, well, fuck, act 2, you need to wrap this shit up. And then I found roughly around like September, October, that I was running out of runway. So what I did, I started taking things and breaking them down and condensing it. And then the other factor I had was that in Instagram, I had this trading card here and this much text here to make a square, the Instagram square. So I could only put this much text in. It was like a Twitter tweet, right?
Yeah.
Like you only have so many characters to say what you have to say. And sometimes I wanted to be like prose all day. The leaves fell delicately on the foot. No, there's no time. Literally, there's no time. So yeah, no time and no room. But when I started running out of runway, I was finding ways to compress ideas, expand ideas. It started off with none. And near the end, I was definitely like laying it out before I was going in, because it was quickly approaching the point where I was running out of runway.
Okay. Sometimes the best thing to do is just to get started on something.
Yeah.
Well, that's the only thing you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even the best. It is the thing. Like, going back, I think we talked about it earlier. Like, doing shit is even when I don't feel like it. There are days. I did 2 years straight of doing a sketch a day. 1 year on top of one of those years was the grave. On the other year on top of that was the freestyle. And there were days I did not want to draw. It was the last thing I wanted to do. Last thing I wanted to do was do a fucking freestyle while I was, pissed off or hungover or sick or whatever, but I still did it. And what I found by actually starting and doing it, like you said, is you find out you're okay with it. You're enjoying it. But you have to start. You have to.
I think that's probably the best advice anyone could give. My final question about the grave. Since you've been into animation, is there any sort of part of you that wants to create an animated version of the grave after it's been on its comic book run?
Animated would be fun, but I don't know if it's the right format for the story itself.
Okay.
I chose doing it in graphic novel singular panel form because it was something I could afford to do, and it was something that I could sort of do in a way, but I was also treating them more like storyboards. Okay. And if I had to, my dream, the actual goal of it would be something like a Netflix series.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the thing could fit into a movie, but the thing is there it's the curse of knowledge, right? The curse of knowledge. I'll tell you what the curse of knowledge is. So they did this experiment, and this proves the curse of knowledge. Imagine 50 of the most popular songs in the world, right? And on one side, you have only your knuckle to knock them out, like knock them. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday on a table, okay? The other person's job is to listen to those and guess what song you're tapping out, right? 50 songs. And you would think, well, the 50 most popular songs, songs that everybody knows. What song are they? And now you have the curse of knowledge, because the person tapping hears happy birthday in their head. The person listening only hears the knocks, right? So I have a little bit of the curse of knowledge when it applies to the grave, in that you only see what you see, and it's a decent story, and I'm happy with it, and I'm proud of it, and I'm excited that it's coming out. But the reason I think it needs to be a series is I know the soothsayer and Moses's backstory. I know the backstory of Cyrus. I know the back.
You know the world.
Like, I know all of it in and out in a way that could be completely expanded and fleshed out in a way that's very compelling. But I had that one shot of 365 days to tell the one story that I had. So that's what you get. So what I would really like a Netflix series live action. Not
live
animated.
action
It's
too.
not
Wow.
live action. Yeah, live action. No, I mean, dude, have you guys read it? I mean, it's fine if you haven't.
I haven't yet. And I'm gonna. The reason why I haven't, I was going to, was because I couldn't find it on Comixology.
Because it's not out. If you want to read it, if anybody wants to read it, because it's gonna go offline soon, because the real.
I saw there was a blog with them, right?
Yeah, it's on Tumblr.
Yeah.
So if you go to thegravebydanfraga.tumblr.com, and then you have to scroll to the bottom and click read from the beginning, because Tumblr puts the newest first,
which is the
oldest. Goes to the oldest.
Yeah.
But but I ran a cool script on it that if you click on read from the beginning, it flips the orientation so you can read it start to finish.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But there's scenes in there where dude eats a shit. Okay, and it sounds funny, right? Yeah. It's a funny scene, but it actually has to deal with like abuse and people coping with like how the coping mechanisms and things like that. So but his whole scene is him eating a bowl full of shit, right? But like in the series, you'll see why he's able to do that and what happened to him and those sort of things.
Is that something that you think you can find in Comixology once it's out, or is that the distribution?
Yeah. No. IDW is they're going through Random House. They're doing regular distribution, digital distribution, and international.
Sweet.
So yeah, they're doing the full deal. So had I known, I would have designed it in a way where I can say I'm done here and do a pull out and see like all the shit's eaten.
Yeah.
It sounds like that you definitely want to, if you could, create a live action version. And that's obviously not something that's easy to pull off as far as financing. If you're just like, hey, I want to turn my comic into a movie, would you ever consider using something like a Patreon or a GoFundMe, something to build that? And if you were able to get the funding for it, it's obviously at this point extremely hard to get onto Netflix. Would you consider trying to?
It's not that hard. It's not hard to get to Netflix.
No. Okay. Well.
No. Well, no. I mean, it is, but it isn't because I work in circles where we're working to get our shows on Netflix. So those lines of communication are.
Oh, so you have your okay, good.
Yeah.
Netflix is more willing to take risks too.
Yeah. The issue I have with crowdfunding anything at this point is that I feel like life is short, and I have so many ideas. I have the next one I want to work on is called Switch, and it's where this girl trades places with her favorite character in her favorite book. So if let's say it was a guy, right? Imagine a nerdy wannabe writer kid that's 15 that loves Harry Potter, and he's waiting for the last book, and suddenly something happens where he's traded places, and now he's in the fourth book, and he knows. It's like Back to the Future. He knows what's supposed to happen, but he fucks up the book, right? But also, Harry Potter is now in the real world in this other guy's body and has no powers and thinks a spell's happening, right? So, like, this is one of the projects I'm working on. So, going back to the crowdfunding thing, the problem is my energy and where I want to put my efforts is. And I'm excited that The Grave is coming out, is once there's that hard copy, that is my pitch. My pitch is, here's my book. I can walk away, read it. If you like it, you go get the money for it.
Yeah, and you storyboarded it out for them so they could, you know.
Right, so that's that. Because I don't have, like, I don't have a Roy Disney, right?
Mhm.
And what I mean by that is like Walt had visions, right? I want to make Pinocchio. I want to make Bambi. I want to make Snow White. He had a Roy Disney. He had his brother out there beating the banks up, getting money and getting funding
Doing
while
business.
he was busy, busy working on his shit. I don't have that. So what I do is I create, I have my sense of business. I can go in with the business minded stuff. But as far as like, let's take that thing and say, let's say I did crowdfund The Grave to create enough money to shoot a pilot, right?
Mhm.
Well, suddenly I'm now spending all of my time getting that money, paying back all the incentives of people that invested in it, and I've got to go out, cast the thing, make the thing, do post on the thing, and then go sell the thing, right?
Mhm.
Well, that suddenly I'm not working on Switch. Suddenly I'm not working on my book. Suddenly I'm not working on the show. I'm not working on the mixtape. I'm working solely on this. And now all of those things are in the back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what I'd rather do is make the thing, make it as complete as I can, get it out there. If they want it, let's talk about it. And you go make it. If you want, hire me on as a creative consultant, whatever, cool. But
You don't want to stop
I'm
creating.
not a one. Yeah, I'm not. It's not one shot. This isn't 8 Mile. I've got a fucking ammo case filled with grenades, and I'm gonna go throw them all.
Yeah. You got other places to throw them at.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
I respect your hustle, man. I know with myself, there's just been a ton of things, and Danny can tell you about it. Like every day, I'm on Google Hangouts, texting him and Cordero.
I have a
I'm
new
like,
idea.
Got a new idea. This is what I'm gonna do. It started
Yeah.
last year. I was like, I want to make a podcast, so we make a podcast. Then it was like, let's do a live show. Now we're doing a live show, and now I'm like, fuck, I can create I want to create my own comic, and and I'm contacting some of the best artists I know, and like I want to get back to music. And
Let me know if you need a cover.
hey, shit.
It'd be like an amazing cover, and then Shane's fucking scratching.
I'm not that bad. I'm in a lot of ways. I'm like you. Like I've always been into art. Actually, when it came to getting into anything creative, it was through drawing. So I used to draw a lot. I used to win awards in school. And it was because of my dad. My dad was a phenomenal artist, just absolutely amazing. He used to draw these really crazy, eclectic worlds where he was a forest ranger, right? So I don't know.
Right.
I mean, they have that everywhere. It's he worked for the state of Florida, and basically he was in this tower, and he would just look out along the horizon and look for smoke from a fire, right? So he'd obviously get really bored in there. And occasionally there would be like wasps or bees that would get they would fly up there and get stuck. So he'd swat them down or whatever. And then he would set them down on a table and he would sketch them. He would sketch the wasps, he would sketch the bees, and just make these really crazy, intricate images of these little insects, and then would bring them into a world with like giant mushrooms and all this craziness. And I think he passed away when he was still young. My dad was, I think, 44 when he died. That was like 2003. And
Damn, dude, I'm sorry to hear that.
Man, that's all right, man. It wasn't your
44 now. I'm 44 now.
It's crazy to think,
I
though.
lost my mom. I lost my mom 5 years ago. So I get it.
Yeah, it's nuts. But the thing that kind of keeps me going when it comes to this is that well, I just read a comment and I'm getting sidetracked. Yeah. But the thing that keeps me going on this is knowing that up until my dad died, he was still continuing on his career. I have a T-shirt in my closet right now that he drew. He drew the T-shirt and then had it printed. He was printing shirts. He was going to like local arts and crafts fairs, and he was selling his products, and he was still going for it even until he got to the point where so I want to in a way kind of like carry that torch, and I think that's why Danny and Cordero, I'm always contacting them like, I got another idea. This is the one. And Cordero,
do it.
We stuck with the Twitch thing, and now we got you on here, and you've given us 4 hours of just amazing knowledge. And I mean, just knowing your resume and your history, man, it's something to look up to, and getting the information that you're passing along to us during this chat is just, we're very appreciative.
Belief is key. Belief is key. You know, that's the thing. There's a word that was it's from the Paulo Coelho book, The Alchemist. It's maktub, maktub, right? And it translates into "it is written," right? And what that goes back to is and I said it earlier, I'm a Christian, right? Like, and I'm not like a Bible thumpy one, like you just saw me chug a whiskey and you know, probably go smoke a J before I go to bed. So that'll just tell you, I live in California. It's legal, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Well, it's legal in Florida too, but only medically.
Nice. Yeah. But I believe in God. I believe that we're all his children, and that if we live by the rules, and I don't mean like in the, like, you know, you're being crushed down by the rules. I'm saying like the real rules are like, what did Jesus say about the first two commandments are the only real two that matter, because all the other ones fall into place, right? Like honor God and treat other people right. That's basically like, that's it. Because if you do those two, you're not going to steal, you're not going to fuck your neighbor's wife, you're not going to kill some motherfucker, you're not going to, you know what I mean? Like, if you honor those two, you go on. And as long as you're doing that, you're going to be okay. And life, again, ask yourself the question, what's the worst that can happen? Right? So
Someone says
t-shirt
no.
business, or someone says no, or whatever. I started my own t-shirt thing in 2015. I made these shirts called Ultra Pop t-shirts. There's only like 60 of them in existence. And I'm hoping that one day all those kind people that invested in buying one will be paid back in the fact that they're going to be worth money. I stopped doing it myself because I was pulling those shirts. I was doing the screening in my garage. The problem I had, I would draw them, I had my screen burn, and I was doing them myself in my garage. The part that turned me off the most about the t-shirt business is I do not like doing mail order fulfillment. I do not like filling packages. I do not like weighing packages. I do not like typing addresses in. I do not like going to the post office. I like making shit.
Somebody else do the rest of it, please.
Yeah. So that's why I stopped. But then I'm starting back up again. If you go to couchdoodles.com, there are some t-shirts you can get, but I have it all set up that I created the artwork, and if someone orders a shirt, they get a short order on demand. And sure, I pay a little extra because I'm not doing it, but I'll tell you what,
it's worth it.
What I make per hour doing shit on my own, I'll just come up with just an arbitrary figure. You wouldn't pay someone $50 an hour to fill envelopes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that. And again, that's just an arbitrary number. But the point is,
I mean, you don't pay someone minimum wage to fill envelopes. It's just not efficient work.
Right. So anyway, any idea that you have, going back to that, is we're trying. You know, the catchphrase my wife and I have when we're going on Netflix, and it's something we've never seen before, is give it 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? Like, let's just give it 5 minutes. What the fuck is this? I don't know. Read the thing. I don't even know what the fuck that is. Give it 5 minutes.
It is.
You know?
You discover great stuff that way too.
Yeah, so give all your ideas a shot, and find the purity of what it is you want. Ask the question of what's the worst that can happen, and then the other question is, what do I lose by not doing it? Okay,
I think that's great advice.
Yeah, because
Cordero in the chat said, if Dan does a cover, And Shane does the
Please
inside
judge
work.
the book by the cover. I see
Tagline.
that. Please judge this book by the cover.
I took that as two different ways. I thought he was also saying that if Dan was wanting to shop around the grave, because you're talking about how it's just like you give it to him, you gotta judge it and all that. But that's funnier. That makes a lot more sense.
He's a funny dude.
Yeah, he is.
Cordero's hilarious, and we're hoping that you'll be kind enough to come join us again, and maybe Cordero will be off of baby leave.
We promise to do it shorter, but it's always good to have someone in our I call it in our pocket that just knows the creative world better than we do. Especially when something new comes out, we can get a perspective that we just can't find anywhere else. So
but then you're also gonna get a lopsided thing, because when you asked me about recasting the X-Men and Fantastic Four, I'm like, who's hot, who's cool? Because I don't know shit.
We can fill you in on that part.
Yeah. Well, now we know that you don't know shit about that, so we'll just we'll skip through that next time.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah,
but I can help you on the stuff that, like, the foundational stuff that is timeless.
Yes.
But the stuff that'll make shit happen. But some of that, I don't know. It's cool. I mean,
you're gonna be our Jack Kirby or our all the people that you were calling when you were a kid. We're gonna be grown men. We're gonna be grown men texting you, like, hey,
how
do you draw a neck?
You got this thing called a sterno something mastoid.
Yeah.
And then you got that connects here, and then you got that, and then the trapezius. Yeah.
I'm gonna need you to write.
I learned it today.
We all learned it today because of you.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah, hopefully we can check in on you, and we'll stay in touch.
I would like that.
And awesome.
Thanks for having me, guys. I can tell we're shutting it down. If you ever want to play that Nike That song, it's great.
Oh yeah, no, we're actually going to play it off. That was going to be the ender. We weren't going to forget about that, because I listened to that again today with my studio headphones. Yeah, where to work, the ones that kind of, and it's mixed very well. It's a good sounding track.
That's my brother. That's my brother, man.
Oh, he does good work.
And I recorded that shit on a Apogee 96. It's like a little portable USB mic.
Did you run that through that mastering service too?
Yeah, it went through Lander. The mix went. My brother did the mix, and then he did a pre-mastering, and then sent it off to deal with volume issues. So
that's awesome.
If I had to, I would probably retrack it, because I kind of got into the thick of the weeds on that song, where it was just one of those things where it was like, fuck, I need to cut this song. I just need to start. And it was one of those, like, I'm just going to rough it out. Right. And I didn't really have any idea. And then next thing I knew, I had done the entire, the chorus, the verses, all the ad libs and everything. And I'm like, well, I guess I recorded it, but if I could go back, I would go back, but you don't want it to be a Frank Frazetta situation, about his thing where he was sneaking into the museum and taking his classic paintings off the wall to fix them.
No, that's awesome.
I'm dead fucking serious. He was taking these classics that everybody knew and went, no, I need to fix that, and like repainted arms and repainted legs, and you're like, stop, fucking stop.
Yeah.
Is it like when OJ went and stole back his Heisman Trophy?
Yeah. No, because did you watch the special on that shit?
No, I didn't get to watch it.
Fuck OJ, what a dumb motherfucker. That's all ego. That's all ego. That guy's hubris is his problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So TwitchCon's coming up in October. TwitchCon's coming up in October. It's actually going to be in your hometown or your neck of the woods. It's going to be in San Jose this year.
Okay.
I'm going to definitely go. Hopefully, man, maybe you'll meet us out there. We'll have another live interview or something like that. That's a long ways away. We're going to.
It's about a 5-hour drive for me.
Ooh.
All right. Well, even if I go there and I come down, go check out things.
Well, if you guys are ever in Orange County, which is, I've got Disneyland, Knott's Berry Farm, like they're all like down the road from my house.
That sounds like,
you ever,
which is funny is Disneyland is in Orange County, California, and Disney World is in Orange County, Florida.
Yeah, it's a trip, right?
Yeah.
Whenever I would go visit Chris, that was one of the things I said. I said, we both live in Orange County and we both have Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those. We'll always have Disney, bro. But he's out in Nashville now. He moved to Tennessee.
Cool.
He and his wife and his new baby. Beautiful kid.
Do you have any conventions or anything where you're going to be having panels? Anything coming up?
I don't know about panels. I do know that I'm booked for two more conventions this year. I'm going to Detroit, Michigan in May. Right. And then in September, I'll be in Portland.
All right, very nice.
But what I need to do, and it goes back to the Roy Disney thing, right? Like, I need somebody to help get me in touch with the convention people, because like I'm not one of those guys, the guests that like I need a fee and all that stuff.
Yeah,
it's more of like, if a convention is willing to give me a table, fly me out, put me up, that's it. That's all I need. And I'll promote the shit out of their show and I'll give them a good time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, so I
you're hiring is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I got a cell phone and I can start calling some of these things.
If I had the money to hire somebody, hire implies payment. When the money ball is rolling, that's the thing with it. With the YouTube show, what I'm hoping to do with the YouTube show is create an asset for people to empower them to create, but also if they feel compelled to want the full bonus material. So like, let's say you watch a YouTube show on Couch Doodles about shapes, like the first one, the one I was telling you about. Well, you can watch it for free on YouTube and you can get it. But if you go to, say, Gumroad, I don't know who I'm going to use, but let's say you go to gumroad.com, you can buy that same video that you can download, but it also comes with all the materials, all my files and all the drawings that came with the video, so you can learn along, plus a homework assignment. So it's sort of a way to monetize the thing.
Awesome.
But the main reason I want to do shows is to get the word out.
Yes.
I mean, it's good for the fans, and I did draw the comics for 10 years, and there's a lot of really good classics and moments that I had to sign for people. But mostly what I want to do is I want to get it out there that that this YouTube show is coming, and I just want people that have creativity inside them, like you guys, to like, when they're done, go, fuck, I got to take action, and real applied action, because knowledge, you can read all you want, you can watch as many things as you want, but applied knowledge is where it's at. You have to take action, and I want people to take action and feel empowered, because there is nothing like you ever been so happy that you hump the air hump, and you're like,
is that like that commercial where they're like this?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I want to
boy.
give people air humping abilities, man, because there's times I'll be drawing and I'm like, it could be the music, I don't know, but I just want to hump the air.
Yes. I have stood up in my chair when I wrote something, and like, you finally play it back together and you're like, oh my god.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's the shit.
That's the best feeling ever, man. That's the best feeling ever.
Yeah.
Going back to what you were talking about, teaching and everything, and this show just keeps on going on and on and on. But one of the things that I've started using is an app called Skillshare, which is actually. Are you familiar? Do you have any plans on maybe taking your talents to Skillshare?
Well, it's weird because I just got an email from Skillshare, and
Shane signed you
they
up.
were like, no, but they were like, would you like to be a Skillshare associate? And it's like, if you share Skillshare, we'll give you $10 for every da-da-da-da. And I'm like, nah, man. I want to share Skillshare, but I want to be sharing my skills. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'll be down for Skillshare is cool, but that's why when I use Gumroad as an example, I need to look at Masterclass, I need to look at Skillshare, I need to look at Gumroad, and I need to find out what is the most effective administering device out of all of them, right? Okay. And then the other thing, going back, because we started with sounds like I'm hiring. What I need to do, the other mission that I have is I need to create something that is doing what I want to do, which is drawing and making music and teaching people, but I need it to be able to sustain itself.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it's day job,
Mhm.
day job, and doing all this stuff on the side. So the reality is you can do the numbers. How much do I need every month to live? How much do I need to make this stuff happen? How can I make a vehicle or something that creates that?
Mhm.
Right. So if the teaching could sustain teaching more, then I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And the way to do it, and it's any model, right? So like if I hired somebody to come on and help me out, as long as that hire can pay for its own self and it's beneficial in a way that helps the whole thing move and sustain itself, then it's worth it. But I'm not even at that point yet. I can't even pay attention.
Yeah. Yeah. Here we are talking about it. Well, Shane, you got anything else?
I could keep on talking about, because I brought up Patreon, and Patreon is it's not quite the same as GoFundMe. It's sort of are you familiar with Patreon?
Yeah. It's sort of like you have fans. This is what I understand. You have fans and supporters of your work, or patrons, and you say to them, for this level, it's almost like Kickstart, right? Like for this level,
Yes.
at $5 a month, you get access to whatever feed. At such amount a month, I'll give you mentorship, or you get a print, or you get one of my singles, my music singles, or whatever. I need to figure it out. I've explored Patreon, I've explored Twitch, I've explored other avenues of making money. And the main thing I want to have happen is I need it to be completely pure. So and also the other thing, going back to the t-shirt business, I don't want my life to be spent fulfilling promises. Right? Like for $10 a month, you each get a print. Well, what if 1,000 people decide they want to give $10 a month? Yay, awesome. 10 grand, but
you're
now
stuck there for a year.
10,000 or fucking 1,000 envelopes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's not what I want to do.
Yeah,
I want to draw. I don't want to stuff envelopes.
Makes sense.
So, or you hire the person to stuff the envelope. But again, it's finding. I hope that's really high grade coffee, man.
It's water.
Man, water. Fish have sex in water. That's nasty.
Yeah, you're gross, Danny.
They pee and poop in it too, but
but yeah, man. I don't know if you guys have any ideas, shoot them my way. But like I said, I'm working on the show, working on the mixtape. Got the Grave coming out. Got some stunts coming with those Grave originals that you saw. Because we have no marketing budget for the promotion of the Grave, so I'm going to be doing something that's kind of out of the box to promote the Grave. That'll be a lot of fun.
Very cool.
We'll definitely be talking
David
about
Blaine
it. So.
Stuff. Yeah, please. I hope so. And then when the mixtape comes out, I'll get you guys advanced copies so you'll see it and
very sweet.
Hear it and some good concepts and. That Nike, that's only the first song. That's the first song of I think the mixtape will have from out of the 37, I like 17 of the tracks. So I think 17 is where we're gonna be.
37 tracks, and
Jeez.
I know you're breaking them down, but that's it's a lot.
Yeah, and none of them have of the 37. 3 have samples. Everything else is written 100%.
Nice.
So.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I like samples. Like L, my producer that's on here, my second mixtape is going to have a lot of samples. But my first mixtape, I wanted to be sample free. I wanted to be completely written. Like obviously, sounds are sampled, right? Like a kick drum is obviously sampled, but there are no this is not Stevie Wonder's That Girl. Yeah, chopped or whatever. It's no melodies. Like literally wrote the bass line, wrote the drum line, wrote programmed it all. So that's I wanted to make sure that I got the heavy lifting out of the way before because to make another mixtape, I could have gone on the internet, scoured a bunch of fucking dope instrumentals and just laced it up and been done and out with it. But that's lazy. So
Yeah.
like I said, I wanted to go and do the hard shit first, get it done, and show and prove I can do it. Then do a lazy one, not necessarily lazy because Ella's putting in hard work and it's wonderful shit. And then the follow up will probably end up being whatever. And also having to deal with clearances. Like if I can get the shit on iTunes and Spotify, then that's a plus.
Yeah.
Are you gonna do any live performances?
That's where I have to get over some things, man. Like that is the one place, like, you know, your Achilles heel and shit. Like I've done some karaoke stuff, and there's something that happens when I have to go on stage where I kind of shut down. And you know, you get into the like da, 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 and like I see even Logic, who, you know, I keep big up in him. His first bits that I saw of him on tour, not talking about the True Story tour or whatever, but some of his other stuff, he didn't look like he was comfortable on stage, and it took him a while. But then you get some other motherfuckers that are just like electric on stage, you know. So but if I do any of that, it's going to take some work, you know. And I know a lot of guys, like there's a guy named Marty Kudelka. I don't know if you know who he is. But he's you know his dance moves. He choreographs everything for Justin Timberlake. You know all his shit. So Marty's a buddy of mine, and a lot of his guys are friends of mine, like the guys that work with him. And I might end up having conversations with them. Not that I'm going to do any boy band moves while I'm doing hip hop performances. It's just more about like stage presence and kind of being big. You know, it's like. You can get into like when you really get into
close in on yourself.
Shit, sometimes, you just fucking go. But if you really want like the crowd to go, you got to fucking be big and loud and So those are things I need to work on. So that my Achilles heel right now is the live performance stuff. I got no problem drawing on camera, no problem talking on camera. But like if you tell me to talk in front of like 1,000 people or whatever, like even when I did the panel in Dallas. Like probably 30 seconds before I sat down, I thought I was going to vomit. Then that's how it goes.
Yeah.
You know, so I
know there was also, it couldn't have helped that much either. Like you're trying to do it and then you try to set up your camera, but the HDMI cord to the TV kept on fucking up.
Yeah. All you can do is make jokes, you know. I was like, just be funny.
So it was an AV issue.
Yeah.
So Spacey 1998 says that the stage takes away your air humping groove.
Well, but I think I might even like be able to get on tippy toes to air hump. You know, imagine like the Michael Jackson just fucking bam, 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 bam. Maybe even levitate a little and throw a couple air humps while I'm in the air.
The David Blaine, the good David Blaine.
Hell yeah. I mean, you've seen those dudes I talked about where they click their heels twice when they jump like that? Yeah. I've never been able to. I've got one click out and then fall on my ass. But
broken ankle.
Imagine throwing so much vert that you can air hump and then come down.
Oh, it's too much.
That's some hops. Got some hops.
I think it is some hops. I think that might be my signature move, man. We gotta
double air humps.
You know, double air humps, man. He threw that. Did you see that motherfucker last night on the Grammys, man? He threw down a triple hump.
Triple hump, man. It's crazy. It's some and one MCing.
Yeah, where were you when you saw that triple air hump? You know, because the first time I remember where I was when I saw Michael Jackson do the moonwalk on that Motown special. I remember exactly where I was. So yeah, air humps. That's for you. What's the name again? Spacey 1998. Nice. Nice. Very nice.
Well, I think I'm out. There's nothing.
You tapped.
Yeah.
I guess I tapped out. I mean, if anything else is to, pops into my head, but I can't think of anything right now.
All good.
You have the benefit of it only being 9:45.
Yeah.
Yes. But I have been up. I've been up since 5, and I've driven to El Segundo and back. That meeting I had to go to talk to the head of my department, believe it or not, was only 15 minutes long. Wow. I drove an hour and change, 15 minutes turn around, hour and change.
Do you hate meetings as much as I do? I waste probably about 6 or 7 hours a week in meetings. It
depends on who it's with. Like with Christopher, the guy I met with today. I would drive a couple hours to meet with him. He's just a pleasure to have a meeting with. But if it was like one of those, like some of the other meetings about meetings,
that's what I have. That's what I have.
I hate those.
It's nuts.
So let's do a pre-org. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, it's stupid. I work for Bennigan's. You remember the restaurant? Bennigan's.
Oh, yeah, I remember Bennigan's.
I work in the marketing department for Bennigan's.
What?
Exactly.
There's still Bennigan's, man. I used to love Bennigan's.
There's one in Sacramento. If you're ever in Sacramento, there's one in downtown Sacramento.
There used to be one in Fullerton, right there on Harbor Boulevard, that I went to.
Yeah, we had one. We had one in Santa Clara and one in Fremont that just closed down. The franchisees, we didn't really, they weren't really doing their job. But yeah, there's
not enough flair.
Yeah, not enough flair. Yeah, not enough flair. But yeah, we're still around, man. So if you ever go to Sacramento, let me know. I'll get you a Monte Cristo.
Hell yeah!
All right,
Bennigan's, man.
So I guess I do have one more question.
Go ahead.
Question because I wasn't able to find this. You work for Mattel now, right?
Yes.
What exactly is it that you do for Mattel?
I make cartoons.
Okay, you just
cartoons. I do a similar job to what I did on Gervais, but in more of a soup to nuts sort of way. So, if say the brand or somebody comes to us with a need, right, a creative request. So, for example, let's say Monster High, we have this new line where we're turning the characters into ghosts, and we need a story that supports it. Here are some of our characters that we want in this story. Cool. Okay, that's our meeting on that. This is your creative request. We go back. We go, wouldn't it be cool if there was a ghost high school and da-da-da-da? Yeah. And that pirate character could do this. Yeah, awesome. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Let's write up an outline. We write up an outline. We pitch that outline. The brand says yay or nay. They say yay. We go and hire a script writer. We hire a script writer to write the script. We go through revisions of the script till we get it to a point where we feel comfortable enough to share it with the brand. We show it to the brand. Brand says yay or nay. They give their notes. We give them. We go and while this process is going on, a production studio, we are picking a production studio based on bids and other factors. We then, once we get them, we set off on art direction on one end, which is what things look like, characters look like, backgrounds, props, vehicles, etc. We also go into a recording studio and we record our actors performing the script, and you sit with them, and this is where a lot of performances are created. Sometimes ensemble, sometimes one at a time. Once that gets done, a radio play is put together, which is essentially a radio play. You listen to it, that's the movie. Its semblance of it is timed out. You meet with the director on the production side along with the storyboard crew, and you outline expectations based on each scene. Even though on paper this scene is this, this, and this, well, underlying is thematically we're going to return to that she has issues with her father, so blah blah blah. Throw in some whatever. I'm just giving bullshit right now, but anyway, you give the context of the scene and your expectation of the scene. You don't be too prescriptive because you want some authorship on their side, or that otherwise they feel like they're just a cog in the wheel, and you don't want that. So then you give them some of that. You get an animatic back. Based on the boards and the radio play, all the while you're receiving models and visuals of what the thing is going to be. You watch the animatic against the performance, and you go, hey, close up would work here. This wide shot makes no sense. You're crossing the line here. This doesn't work. And you adjust that animatic. Once that animatic is locked down, and again, you're reviewing all materials, models, backgrounds, vehicles, props, all that. Then they go into block animation using these approved models, and they block out that animation. This is for CG. They block out things based off of the boards with the performances. Then they nuance the performances. You give notes on those performances. Then you go through a lighting pass, a comp pass to where the picture is the picture, all the effects and lighting are put in. Then you speak with your composer who does the music, and you talk to him scene by scene what your expectations are. This is a da-da-da-da, tinkle here. This is a funny beat. Hold out, drop the music here, add this sting here. So you do a handout with your composer. You also do a handout right around the same time with your sound effects department. Foley, birds in the air, footsteps on the ground, car sounds, horns, ethereal sounds, whatever that serves the story. So then you take all those ingredients and you go to a mix house and you mix and place those sounds and the music and have it all put together. And then you go through a QC pass, which is quality control, to look for any sort of blips, dips, dots, whatever. Make sure everything's good sound picture-wise. Make sure any sort of notes that haven't been addressed are addressed. And you send it off for distribution. So my job is literally to see it from that very beginning of we need a story to go with these dolls, all the way through all those processes to delivering to where it becomes a DVD or a special on Nickelodeon. That is my job.
Oh, well, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's awesome that you're able to put that together. Like, a lot of people don't realize that, you know, so much goes into, you know, anything even minor. You know, it could be a 15-second commercial, and I assume the same process would occur.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. It's just different. It's different. Different productions have different pipelines, but essentially they're similar. You have, you know, your creative brief, your pre-production, your actual production, your post-production, your delivery.
Sure.
Well, the in-betweens.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna forcefully wrap us because I know we will keep going on these tangents.
Yeah. Came back.
That's two taps.
Yeah. No, because if I don't do it, Shane won't do it. He's not good at it, and you know, I don't want to keep you longer than you can be here and whatnot. So I'll wrap it with again, Dan Fraga, real quick. Where can people find you and your work and whatnot?
Two spots on Instagram. Instagram.com @CouchDoodles. That's CouchDoodles. And Fragaboom23. That's FRAGABOOM23. Fragaboom on Twitter. Dan Fraga on Facebook. The Art of Couch Doodles on Facebook. YouTube.com/CouchDoodles on YouTube. Couch Doodles here on Twitch. And Periscope, I think, is Fragaboom. And that's that. That's pretty much covers them all. Snapchat, I'm on there, but fuck Snapchat.
I was too slow. I was trying to type them all into the chat. For everybody who is in the chat right now, please go over, because this will be the easiest thing to do. First and foremost, go over to Couch Doodles, his Twitch channel, and go ahead and shoot him a follow. Let's help him grow that page. And then you see the Instagram accounts there and the YouTube account, and I missed the other ones because
it's okay. It's either Couch Doodles or Fragaboom.
Exactly, right. And we'll be sure to share on our Twitter and whatnot, especially when the comic comes back out. And nobody leave.
Appreciate it.
If you guys are new here, be sure to hit the follow button. We got a quick follow to thank, which was Oz TikTok. Appreciate the follow, my man. You came in at the end, but there are two amazing VODs of this conversation because we had to take a break in the middle. So be sure to check that out. We're going to close the show out with playing Nike That for you guys while we roll credits. And then we're going to host.
This is first.
There you go.
Exclusive. DJ Clue.
Yeah.
So you guys enjoy that, and then right after that, we're gonna host somebody. So if you guys can hang out in the chat and say hello to whoever we host, it will be super appreciated. And I'm gonna go ahead and start playing this song here in the background while we roll credits.
Here we go.
Lay in the bed, don't wanna get up. Voices in my head and I'm telling them to shut up. I'm feeling my best, I'm kinda fed up. Tired of being tired, now it's time for me to step up. Walk into the bathroom, took a look into the mirror. Staring back at me, a reflection of my fears. Have another snack, man, have another beer. Hey, shut up, take it back. just gotta do it. Set a plan and get right down to it. Be the man and keep it mad fluid. That's right, the only way through it. Yeah, cause it might be that, man, it ain't just the shoes, you got to Nike that. Shit, Nike that, Nike that. Shit, Nike that, Nike that. Shit, Nike that, Nike that. Yeah, Nike that, yeah, Nike that. You gotta set goals, break them down in little pieces. Praise the Lord and thank you, Jesus. Bring it around on the track like my life depends upon it. Flipping and killing the pad with my magic pin opponent. Bit of motivation, get you fatter in the pocket. Yeah, I'm really taking here, cause you know we need one of yeah. A hot wife, a great job. The good life of black getting done. I'm fast like a big yawn. It's not like it's that hard. Yeah, cause it might be that, man, it ain't just the shoes, you got to Nike that. Shit, Nike that, Nike that. Yeah, Nike that, Nike that. Shit, Nike that, Nike that. Shit, Nike that, Nike that. Wanna look good and feel you great, got to Nike that. Take a hottie out on a you date, got to Nike that. Be the best and dominate, you got to Nike that. Be love and kill the hate, you got to Nike that. Temptation moving in like a bad situation. Change your mental pictures, use your damn imagination. Ain't liking the tune, the chase station. That's right. Killing this shit, your only obligations. Like my fitness on a motherfucking hit list. Won't miss it or just wish it, ain't nobody can dismiss. Get it? Staying on top like a fitted. Working my way up to saying, yeah, I did it, yeah. Cause it might be that, man, it ain't just a suit, you got to Nike that. Shit, Nike that, Nike that. Yeah, Nike that, Nike that. Shit, Nike that, Nike that. Shit, Nike that, Nike that. Shit, yeah. This song is dedicated to the motherfuckers laying in your bed, sitting on your goddamn couch, doing nothing but huffing and puffing and bluffing. If I'm gonna be the best, gotta dress for success.